America. So good to see you here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. I'm Vanessa Broussard along with Brian Glenn. We are here in the beautiful, cold, wintry Green Bay, Wisconsin. It is a rainy day out there today, but that's okay because the crowds are still standing outside, and there is a long line out there, Brian, in these wintry conditions. It's April, and it's winter time.
This is nothing for these people
but
here.
But for me, it is.
In Green Bay.
Yes, I think we walked outside for, all of 15 seconds from one door to the other, and I was ready to get inside. But they've been standing out there for hours.
But, Vanessa, if you survive the Iowa caucus at 45 degrees below zero,
I did survive that.
This is a balmy. No, it's great to be here in Wisconsin. It's election day here in Wisconsin, and that's hence why the president has chose to make his second stop today, the first one being in Grand Rapids, Michigan, here in Wisconsin. So he's on the ballot, but there's no surprise that he is actually going to be the overwhelmingly support for the president. There's a couple other things on the ballot as well that we'll get into here in just a second. But we're glad you're joining us, Vanessa Broussard, Brian Glenn, as we're live here on this Tuesday. There's some other states that have their elections as well. So as we kind of wind down these kind of after Super Tuesday, we've had a few others. We're getting into now there's a handful of states that are left to vote.
Right, absolutely. And, you start thinking, too, after President Trump clinched the nomination and is the presumptive nominee, would there still really be this high energy and outpour of support in a primary since he's already clinched it? And the answer is yes. The momentum has not slowed down whatsoever. Like Brian just mentioned, after Super Tuesday, there's still a handful of states that still need to vote. And once he clinched the nomination for the Republican Party, we're still seeing high voter turnout in the remaining states. And that's great to see, especially on this very important presidential year. So you never want to see the momentum slow down, and the Trump train is in full force, high gear, going down the railroad tracks all across the country. And people are showing out, especially here, again, today in Green Bay, Wisconsin. It's raining outside. It's a cool mid-30s degrees outside, and we're expecting snow tomorrow. And the people, that's not stopping them from voting today.
No, I mean, there's a lot on the ballot. We just had a press conference in Grand Rapids talking about this broken border, and President Trump had several law enforcement agencies behind him on stage, Vanessa, and America is fed up with the border situation. And I walked around in this pre-show for about just over an hour, probably talked to 50 different people, and they all said their top priority is securing the border from day one of the president. And that's what he is going to make a specific push to message that, because it is affecting this country in record numbers. And it all started day one under a Biden administration, reversing all of these executive orders for the border, halting the construction of the border, and the remaining Mexico being completely wiped out of well. This crisis that we have is 100% on Joe Biden's watch. Now, despite what they try to say that the GOP is responsible for this crisis, that is factually wrong.
Absolutely it is, and we'll talk more about that in a moment, because so much has crumbled under the Biden administration. And with it being an election year, there's fear of what's to come, not an if it's coming, but when it's coming, and that could be anything. And that's why we want you to be prepared. Go to MakeCareGreatAgain.com, MakeCareGreatAgain.com. The wellness company, Dr. Peter McCullough and his team once worked with President Trump. Amazing doctors. They put together this kit for you, for your family, to make sure that if crisis does hit, when crisis does hit, or just the bug affects your family, that can make sure that you're set and ready to go. You don't have to wait on a doctor. You don't have to wait on a prescription, because it's right there in your kitchen waiting for you. There are 8 prescription drugs in this medical emergency kit: ivermectin, a Z-Pak, amoxicillin. Those types of drugs are needed when you get sick. So make sure that you take extra precautions right now. Don't wait until it's too late. Get your medical emergency kit today from the wellness company. That's MakeCareGreatAgain.com. And Brian, I'll tell you, for my family, that sure has come in handy, because there was a time when I got sick and it took a little bit to get to my doctor. Sometimes these doctors' offices are full, they're packed, they can't get you in for 2 or 3 days. And so what happens? You're just sitting at home sick. You don't want to have to go to the emergency room and sit in the emergency room with a lot of other sick people. So you sit at home waiting for your appointment to get medicine. Well, guess what? You don't have to do that when you have the emergency medical kit at your disposal.
Yeah, and all the instructions are right there how to use them, and it's every situation. So I'd highly suggest you do that as we kind of move into this new unknown stage in our society where it seems like we just had like the bird flu outbreak in Texas, and I just saw an article this morning in the Daily Mail about U.S. beef imports are changing. So we're going to be importing beef from countries that historically we have stayed away from and that have different consequences. They don't have the standards of health regulations than we do in that industry. So when you look at what could be next, what's the next outbreak, it really is scary. So this thing does make a lot of sense to put in your family and add to your. I always say put one at home, keep one at work, keep one in the car.
Absolutely, and put in that RSBN code at checkout to save yourself some money there as well. That's makecaregreatagain.com. At checkout, put in RSBN, and then you'll save money on your order. We were talking about how when you were speaking earlier to the crowd here, their main concern is immigration. We looked at a Decision Desk exit poll on Super Tuesday, Brian, and the poll showed when they asked Americans, what's your number one concern? Yes, you're right, it was immigration, 44% immigration. And then the second one, distant second, was the economy, just at 28%. So that's the big jump, 28% to 44% immigration, top of the list there. People are concerned. They're struggling at home. They're living paycheck to paycheck, but they're more concerned about these open borders.
It's the state of our country right now, and it's interesting because if you look back at the State of the Union, and it took President Biden about an hour before he even talked about the broken border. Matter of fact, he led with Ukraine. He led with every other, helping every other nation out but our own. This is the state of our country right now. It is the broken border. It is I believe in the millions, if not 5 to 10 million undocumented people that we have no idea that are in this country, that are in cities. And by the way, if you live in Chicago, congratulations, an undocumented immigrant there can possess a handgun to defend himself because, I don't know, maybe the Constitution protects him as well, even though he's not a U.S. citizen. It's a clown world right now, Vanessa, that we live in, and that's why people are showing up to the polls and the voting box, and that's why overwhelming President Trump has won that. But look at the exit polls. Look at the general polling on who can handle the border better. It's President Trump without a doubt, by a large margin. People don't have trust in President Joe Biden to secure the border because they've denied that there's even a crisis up until now.
Right.
And they really haven't even said it was a crisis. It's a situation.
Right. A situation. They are our neighbors. They're the newcomers. So they come up with every name they can to not say the word illegal aliens, but that's exactly what they are. And you just talked about the State of the Union, and I want to give this quote. He said, "I will not demonize immigrants by saying they're poisoning the blood of our country. We are having people murdered in the streets by illegal immigrants. They are coming across our border with fentanyl, all kinds of drugs. People are dying at the hands of these illegal immigrants. People who are on the terror watch list are entering our country. We don't know who they are, where they're from. There are countries, Brian, I just learned this the other day, there are countries that don't require you to have a birth certificate. So some of these women are coming across with children. They're lying about their name. They're lying about their age. And they're stuck in holding cells at the border while the Border Patrol is trying to figure out who are they, where are they from, and who's, the ones I feel sorry for the most are the children, because the children did not ask for this. They're being carried. They did not sign up for this. They're being carried across these dangerous territories to get to America. They don't know who they're with. They're being sent here with random strangers. And when these people get to the border, they're lying to our agents and telling them, I'm, Mary Jane, and this is Bob with me. That's not the little boy's name. And he doesn't know Mary Jane. And so it's just a big mess. And that's just, one example of millions going on that they have to put up with at the border. But Joe Biden is saying, let them all come in, let them flood our streets, let them flood our neighborhoods and our cities. We're going to welcome them with open arms. President Trump was just in Michigan moments ago, and there they have a new program, Brian, where they're giving them free rent and Biden's paying for it.
Yeah, I heard someone say earlier when we were talking in the crowd, they were from Michigan. They said even in Michigan right now, they're getting I think he said $587 from the state for whatever they need to do. Meanwhile, we have homeless people, we have veterans on the streets, and of course there are some outreach sources for veterans, but it's underfunded in my opinion. But that's the state of our country right now, and so I would say this: 24 isn't about Trump or Biden. It's not about that. It's not about that at all. It's about the policies that are best for this country. And I wish a lot of people would look at it like that, because a lot of people say, well, for whatever reason, life was better under President Trump, but I just don't like his truths. I don't like, back in the day, his tweets were just so. And I want to say, look, we're not electing a student body president. You're not in middle school at this point. You have to look at the policies that directly affect your life. And I just wish a lot of Americans would just grow the hell up and realize that. And it's not a popularity contest. We're not voting for who looks best or who's the best person. No, I'm not looking for a moral compass of anything. I'm looking for the policies. And President Trump is the orchestrator, is the original of the America First policies that work and make this country great. And I think that's what's on the ballot right now. He is just the genesis. He's just the one that basically created these policies.
But at the same time, Brian, piggybacking on what you just said, I was speaking to a man just last week back in my hometown who says, I voted for President Trump in 2016 and 2020, and I'm going to vote for him in 24. But, he's a lot better than Biden, but he's just cocky. And I said, well, but he does it in a way. His personality is confident, and what he says and what he posts on Twitter, which is now X, or Truth Social, is what everyone sits at home and talks about around their dinner table, but may not say it publicly. President Trump says what we think, right? And so, you're exactly right. It's confidence. He can walk into a room, he can shake a hand, he's a businessman, and he can get the job done.
Well, here's a point. In Michigan, just about an hour ago, he talked about this, that the president of Mexico was wanting $20 billion a year to basically halt the migration of these immigrants, and was basically that money was going to be spread around to several countries to, I guess, address the problems they had. And President Trump said it. This would have never happened. They would have never even remotely brought up this bargaining tool. You give me $20 billion and we'll stop the flood of migrants into your country. That wouldn't have flown. Unfortunately, with President Biden, I kind of feel like he'll bite on something very similar to that, because that's how dumb that man is when it comes to negotiating stuff. But it's all about leadership. It's all about courage to do what is right, despite what might be perceived in public. And that's what's key. Great leaders of CEOs in countries, Vanessa, you make tough decisions that might not always be popular, but what is best for the company, what is best for the country. And that's all he does. And you know what? You're not going to agree with everything that he does. You're just not going to agree with it. People aren't going to agree with him with his personality. They're not always going to agree with that. But at the end of the day, he has our best interests first. And I don't think you can remotely give me one example under Joe Biden that he has put average, everyday Americans first as a priority. And I'm waiting for it, because I have often said, I wish someone would come to me that despises Trump and they support Biden. Give me a reason. Give me one reason other than you don't like and you fill in the blank for a personal reason. I want an economic policy. Is that what's good? Or perhaps it's his foreign policy, because now we have all these different wars that we're potentially getting involved in. So we'll talk about that a whole lot more, but we do want to pause and remind everybody to, hey, secure that financial future. We have our friends over the Birch Gold Group has this very special offer. When you look at inflation and you look at how everything and people are struggling, perhaps you're dipping into savings now to make ends meet, which millions of Americans now have to do. You want to protect what you have. Our friends at the Birch Gold Group want to do just that. Just simply text the words Trump to 989898 and get that free information kit. They can tell you exactly how to transfer a traditional IRA into a gold-backed IRA. They'll do it. It's easy. And they got your best interest at heart. They've got an A+ rating for the Better Business Bureau, and they want to help you do it. So the information for that is on your screen. Easy to do. Just text Trump can't forget that, to 989898. That is the Birch Gold Group. So, but I do often say, where are the Biden supporters?
I don't know.
I say that in all due respect, and a lot of people will say, well, it's always on like a cultural issue, is why they hate Trump, is because apparently he says some derogatory statements towards this group or towards that group. But when you look at, like, from a fiscal standpoint, he wants you to have more money. He wants you to work, maximize your earnings, right? Bring more dollar amounts home. He wants to secure our borders and have a strong nation with secure cities. He doesn't want to continue to fund endless wars, which nobody wants. It's funny, the Democratic Party years ago used to be the party of peace. It was the Republicans. I hated Republicans in college. I despised the Bush dynasty. I honestly did. I didn't like any of them. I didn't vote for them.
We grew up Democrat.
My
family was Democrat because the Democrat Party represented the working class.
They were
at the time.
At the time, I despise more Republicans today than I do Democrats. I just do.
They don't
because
work together.
They don't. A Republican will stand on stage, okay, and he'll tell you exactly what you want to hear, what their constituents want to hear, to get elected. And then they get in office, and then they sit back and they vote the way their consultants tell them. They vote the way the lobbyists tell them to vote. They don't vote in the best interest of the everyday American. Democrats will. Democrats absolutely will vote the way their constituents have put them into office to do. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with their game plan, but I can respect the fact that they're actually listening to their voters. 100%. I get that.
And then, we're going to talk about that. Let's hold that thought. The program's starting right now.
Wisconsin, Brian Schimming.
Hey, everyone. Are you happy to be in Green Bay today? I'm not sure I got that. Are you happy to be in Green Bay, Wisconsin today? We'll try one more time. Are you happy to be in Green Bay, Wisconsin today, where we will send a message to the state of Wisconsin and to America that it's time to make America great again. Now, it's exciting for us to be in Titletown, isn't it? Now, titles always come back to Titletown. And I'm just telling you, I think we have a visitor here today who's going to be getting his title back after the first Tuesday in November. Now, we have a lot of work to do, people. We have to put up yard signs. We have to talk to our neighbors. We have to be on social media. We have to talk to our relatives. We have a lot of jobs to do. But I have news for you today. If you do your job, and you do your job, and you do your job, and you do your job on the first day, the first Tuesday in November, Joe Biden will be out of a job. And the importance of Wisconsin cannot be overstated. In this 23rd someplace that we call Wisconsin, we have had 12 races in 24 years. Think about that. 12 races in 24 years that have been decided statewide by less than 30,000 votes. 12 races. I always say to the media, Wisconsin is not one of 50 states this year, people. We're one of 5. Isn't that true? The presidency comes through this state, and it comes through Green Bay and the Fox Valley. Have no doubt in your mind about that. And not only does the presidency come through here, the road to control of the U.S. Senate by firing Tammy Baldwin also comes from Wisconsin. And as if it wasn't good enough that we got to do what? Fire Nancy Pelosi. We have an opportunity with people like Glenn Grothman and Tom Tiffany to make sure Republicans hold the House of Representatives, and we have a team in Washington that can make Donald Trump the most successful president ever. I welcome you here to Green Bay, Wisconsin today. Let's go save America together. Thank you, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage for today's invocation, lead pastor of Cross Point Church, Casey Carey.
If you haven't heard it today, let me be the first one to tell you, God loves you. He has a plan for your life. He sees you and He cares about you. Will you please pray with me? Father God, in Jesus' name, I thank you for the opportunity we all have to know you through the death, the burial, and the resurrection of your Son, Jesus Christ. And that through faith in Him, every man, woman, and child can find forgiveness from their sins and hope for their future. Your word says in 2 Chronicles 7:14 that if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven. I will forgive their sins and I will heal their land. So Lord, I ask you to heal our land. Help us as a nation to humble ourselves. Help us as a nation to seek you and turn from any wicked ways, because you, Lord, are the hope for this nation. Father, as we meet together today, I ask for your will to be done right here. I ask you to bless this event with your peace and for you to guide us. Thank you, Lord, for the men and women who have worked and are currently working now to make this event successful and safe. I also pray for the future of this nation. I pray that you will guide the people of this nation to elect men and women who honor and fear you. I pray that every lie and cunning deception that will be perpetrated upon your people will be revealed, and that we could walk in truth, O Lord. I pray this afternoon for those who are on the other side of the aisle of my convictions. Lord, I pray that you would bless them and that your kindness would be evident in their lives. Lord, lead our nation back to a place of unity and peace. And this evening, I also ask you, Father, to bless President Donald Trump. I ask you to protect him. I ask for you to protect his family. And I ask for you to surround him with wise and godly counsel. Lord God, give President Trump wisdom. Lord, give him favor. And I pray that you would lead him and guide him by your Spirit. And for all these amazing people that are here today, I want to speak the blessing that's found in Numbers chapter 6. And I say, the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift his countenance upon you and give you peace. We pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage for the Pledge of Allegiance, retired veteran and chairman of the Shawano County Republican Party, Richard Kuxdorf.
All right. My name is Colonel Rich Kuxdorf. For 34 years in the military, me and my team, we were embedded with the Iraqis and I was backstage. I got to meet the next senator from the state of Wisconsin, the one that's going to work shoulder to shoulder with Ron Johnson, Eric Hovde. And I told Eric Hovde, yeah, give it up for him. I guaranteed that Shawano County would at least vote 75% for Eric Hovde, so I challenge any other county to beat that. That would be outstanding. I also want to bring up to you that I did the pledge in 2016, and in 2016 we got a great president, Donald Trump. For whatever reason, I wasn't asked to do the pledge in 2020, so I feel that I'm a good luck charm doing the pledge again this time, because we do need Donald Trump and a majority in the House and in the Senate. So if you would please join with me, take your hat off. If you haven't, I'm going to do an about face after I start the pledge. And if you're a veteran, I would ask you to present arms so that everybody knows who the veterans are. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage to sing the national anthem, Jenny Thiel.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage businessman Mike Lindell.
Hello, everybody. Thank you. I want to take you back to December of 2019. Remember how we were as a country? Everything that our great real president done had manifested into the highest consumer confidence ever, and everybody's lives had somewhat improved while we're physically, our lives monetary had improved. And then, of course, along came the China virus, and then the 2020 stolen election. But I want to tell everyone now, over the last 3.5 years, the things that have been going on that are bad in this country, the things that are destroying our country. I told our real president the other day, I said, you have a bucket, this bucket of common sense, call it a Republican mega bucket, right? And people are pouring in from both sides. If you can't go out now to get people on board to vote for our great real president, there's no other time in history. We get one shot at this. And I told the president, I said, you know, as the bad things that are out there that keep happening over and over again with the border, with everything going on, I said, pretty soon you're going to, and I said, they keep attacking him. And I said, every time you get attacked and you get an indictment or some other thing, your poll numbers go up. I said, pretty soon you'll end up with more votes than voters like Pennsylvania. And we all know what happened in Wisconsin in the 2020 election, and this is about as red as you can get in Wisconsin. And I just think, I've spent so much time here. You guys have some of the best grassroots and best people in this country, and you never give up here, and you show that today. You've got to get involved, though, over the next 9 months or 8 months, and just get involved at the ground level. Poll watchers, get involved with the things we're doing out there. I have the LindalePlan.com. You can check that out, where we're doing it at the county levels to make sure that this election doesn't happen like it happened in 2020. And I just want to bring you guys some hope too. We're going to look back, all these bad things that are going on, that keep going on. It's opening people's eyes to how important politics, how important our elections are. And, it's like, that's why you have people pouring in for this mega bucket. But there's also another thing going on, and that's with as people physically feel hopeless and they're giving up spiritual, but then they're finding hope in Jesus Christ. And I say to you, we are in the greatest revival in history for our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And so when we get out here and our great real president's in, and we look back at all these things that happened that were bad, we're going to know that God uses all things for good. God bless you, and we'll see you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Congressman Tom Tiffany.
How are you guys? In Joe Biden's America, rent's up, groceries are up, energy costs are up, deficits are up, welfare checks are up, aren't they? In Donald Trump's America, just a few short years ago, salaries were up and prices were down, weren't they? Wouldn't it be nice to go back there? In Joe Biden's America, he has a VIP program. It's for illegal aliens. Yeah, he's got a VIP program for illegal aliens, and you are the second-class citizens in America now, aren't you? Every state is a border state. By the way, that VIP program, that's the voter import program that he started just a few years ago, didn't he? Yeah. We all know what they're up to. In Trump's America, we're going to be able to go back to catch and release. You're all familiar with that? Catch and release. Gotaways. Those are phrases that we use up north where I live in regards to fishing. In Donald Trump's America, that's the same thing that's going to happen because he will secure the border. In Joe Biden's America, he has a Department of Agriculture that has they have an agency, the Civil Rights, Diversity, and Inclusion Agency. You know, I think back to when I was a kid growing up on the farm. Diversity used to mean when we'd have Jerseys and Guernseys along with our Holsteins. I remember inclusion used to be begging my 7 brothers and sisters, would you let me play on the baseball team in the local neighborhood? Bring Donald Trump back as president, and he will include everyone if they want to make America great again, won't he? Absolutely. It was just a year ago, Joe Biden, when he announced that he was going to run for president again, he said, I'm going to finish the job. Well, finishing the job will finish America, won't it? That's what will happen with 4 more years of Joe Biden. And it's up to us in the Badger State. We are the state. If we win here in Green Bay, if we win here in the state of Wisconsin, Donald Trump will be the next president of the United States of America. So if you want a strong America, if you want a great America, if you want an America that you can be proud of, if you want an America that has secure borders, if you want to have an America that's once again energy independent, join me in supporting Donald Trump, and let's win Wisconsin again in November. Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Dean of the Wisconsin Republican House Delegation, Congressman Glenn Grothman.
It's a great day to be in Wisconsin. But we all know we have big trouble in this country. Barack Obama, Joe Biden's mentor, said he wanted to fundamentally change America. Wanted to fundamentally change the greatest nation in the history of the world. Let's look at some issues and why we cannot let Donald John Trump fail to win the election in November. First of all, we got new numbers out as far as the number of people crossing the southern border. February is never a big month for crossing the border, but 220,000 people crossed the border and came to the United States in February. 4 years before that, under Donald Trump in February, and this is before COVID, how many people do you think crossed the border? Under 10,000. We've gone up 22 times on people crossing the border. Who is the only man who has the ability to stop the United States from disappearing in November? Donald Trump. You're absolutely right. And these people crossing the border, some other statistics for you to carry back home. I heard testimony last week from a guy who was a judge, immigration judge. People crossing the border, he felt, 3.5 to 4 times as likely to commit crimes as a native born. And that's what the future of America, Joe Biden wants. Every month, another 9,000 or 10,000 unaccompanied minors come here. Can you imagine letting in this country 14, 12-year-old kids without their parents? Who is destroying the families here? Joe Biden's destroying the families. Donald Trump will once more make sure that the families stay together and we're not going to be separating families at the border. In any event, when you talk to your friends back home, remember, 21 times as many people crossing the border now as under Joe Biden. Now I want to talk a little bit about something that's going to affect so many of us personally. About 6 months ago, I got a new car, and I just bought a new car, wasn't thinking. And then I realized Joe Biden wants to change the type of car that you're forced to buy. Right now, cars are pretty good. They last 10, 15, 20 years. I'm a cheap German. My cars go as long as I can let them go. And I realized this may be the last gas-powered car I'll be allowed to buy in the United States of America. 2032 is just around the corner, and they don't want to sell more than a handful of gas-powered cars at that time. I talked to my friends in the auto industry. You're going to have to pay $20,000 more a car. And worse than that, and this is Joe Biden and the Marxist war on the middle-class American. They want to wipe out the middle class. The rich will always be okay. They'll give more money to the people who aren't working. But the middle class they hate. What are they going to do? These new electric cars will cost 20 grand more than another car. And the cost of your insurance, which responsible people buy, will double with electric cars. Where's that money going to come from? You're going to squeeze the middle class. Who's the only person who can continue to allow us to buy gas-powered cars in 2032? Donald John Trump. One more quick thing. In future Easters, when you're taking your kids to church, you don't want to turn on the radio and have some newsman tell you that today's a very important day. It's the Transgender Day of Visibility. The only man who can keep America the great country it was meant to be, Donald John Trump.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage candidate for U.S. Senate, Eric Hovde.
America. America. Our country, America. The greatest country in the history of mankind brought more prosperity, freedom to all of its citizens than any country ever has. Spread liberty around the world. That shining city on the hill not only saved the world once, but twice in the last centuries from tyranny and oppression. That is our country. Sadly, today, our country has taken a beating over the last 3.5 years. I don't know if you're like me, but I wake up often and think I've woken up into a bad episode of The Twilight Zone where what is right is wrong and what is wrong is right. President Biden and Chuck Schumer and his allies like Senator Baldwin, what did they tell you before the election? We're going to remake America. Well, they sure did, and they sure didn't do a very good job. Let's look at it. They've added more debt in the last 3.5 years than our first 230 years in our country's history. Think of that for a second. Or how about inflation? They've given us the worst inflation in 40 years. Real wages impacted for inflation have declined by 2.7% in their tenure. Under President Trump, they rose by 8.2%, the highest of any president in modern times. Think of that. Our border. President Trump, his last year was 300,000 people crossing our border. Under President Biden, 3 million, 3.5, 4 million. It's estimated anywhere from 10 to 12 million. They don't even know how many people have come. And what are the intentions of those people that are coming? And by the way, we're struggling to provide food and housing and health care for our own citizens. How are we going to provide that for another 10 to 12 million people? It's wrong what's happening. And they've created a humanitarian crisis on our border. They've lost 100,000 children that they can't account for. Under President Trump, that was 4,000, and he got royally criticized. Well, 100,000, I can tell you a lot of those poor kids have ended up in the sex trafficking trade that has been devastating to so many. So that's what they have given this country. We've got to change this path. We've got to change this country. And we can, because that swamp needs to be cleaned, not just by President Biden, but Senator Tammy Baldwin. If you can believe this, she has voted with President Biden 95.5% of the time. Now, I don't even know how you could agree with him 10% of the time, much less 95.5% of the time. You got to be kidding me. And she is nothing but a rubber stamp for the progressive left. Everything the progressive hardcore left wants, she does it. That is what Senator Baldwin is. And by the way, her office, her Senate office, is a revolving door for lobbyists. And the amount of special interest money she has taken. The corruption needs to end in Washington. I won't take any of their special interest money, and I'll gift my salary of the U.S. Senate every year to a Wisconsin charity. So, Wisconsin, I ask you, are you ready to clean the swamp out? I sure know I am. Are you ready to go fight for your country and take our country back? I know I am. Are you ready to restore the American dream? Yes! Oh, and one last thing. Go, Pack, go! Go, Pack, go! Go, Pack, go!
Go, Pat, go.
Go, Pat, go. Brian, good to be in Green Bay today.
Yeah.
Little fun fact about me, I've been a Green Bay Packers fan since I was a little girl.
Oh, nice.
Dallas Cowboys first, though, of course.
There you go. Yeah. All right, let's first talk about the need to pay your taxes. I know we got the tax deadline coming up in April. Many of you might have missed it last year. Well, guess what? Our friends over at Tax Network USA want to help you on all of your back taxes, no matter how much you owe, no matter how long ago it's been. They got the need and the desire to do that.
Yes, they have experts all over the country waiting for you. So all you have to do is call that 1-800 number on your screen or go to tnusnetwork.com/RSBN. All that information's on your screen. They have experts in every state. They're licensed in every state. So no matter where you live, they can help you. Thousands of satisfied customers. They've saved their customers $1 billion. That's billion with a B in back taxes. So if you're stressing right now about your taxes, don't. Call that number on your screen or go to that website and they'll definitely help you out.
Yeah, we're definitely coming up on that deadline here and just a couple weeks away. So go reach out to them, take advantage of their specials, and definitely get that burden off your back. Tax Network USA. A lot of fiery speeches so far, and which is what you pretty much get to expect when you come to a rally. A lot of the opening program speakers are someone that's either running for a congressional or Senate spot, or could be someone that's already in there. And it's interesting because the common theme with all of this is to take our country back. And there's certain individuals in elected office, Congress and Senate, and even, in White House, that is not their motivation. That's not what they want to do. They don't want to necessarily take this country back. And I think it's important to note that this election, when we look at how important it is, Vanessa, it is all about taking this country back and taking it back to a time where we actually put America first, and we put all these people sitting behind us, we put their interests first as well.
Right. We mentioned it earlier, and we'll mention it again. Look at the State of the Union with Joe Biden. My mouth dropped, my jaw dropped on the ground when he opened the State of the Union, the address to the nation, which should have been the address to the United States of America, with an address to Ukraine and about Ukraine and all about money going to Ukraine. So we say it over and over again, and he makes it very clear that it's not America first with him, it's America last with him. These other countries are first. He's sending money over there. Look at what's going on at our border. Instead of sending money to Ukraine, he needs to be sending money to our different states, Arizona and California and Texas, to secure our borders, but he doesn't. He could do that today. He could have done it yesterday. All he has to do is put pen to paper, sign it, and it's done. The majority of Americans say their number one concern right now is illegal immigrations, these illegal immigrants, these illegal aliens coming across our border, and Joe Biden just does not care. He cares about China, he cares about Ukraine, but he does not care about America.
Yeah, and I think, Vanessa, this is probably the last election that you're going to see if we don't win it. And I love the fact that Mike Lindell, which, by the way, he is going to make his way over here shortly and join us, but he'll say this is it. This is it. Because can you imagine going 4 more years with not only the open border, but let me let you in on a little secret. Whoever controls Congress January of 2025 actually writes the tax codes, their U.S. tax codes. So right now it is set for the Trump tax codes to expire.
Right.
So whoever has a majority in the House is basically essentially going to write these tax codes. So if you think the Democrats, if you think, well, Mike Lindell's coming this way right now, if you think things are bad now with your taxes and things are expensive and you can't afford the homes, you can't afford the cars, you can't afford to do stuff, it's going to get worse. Before we get to Mike Lindell, let's talk about freetrumpbook.com. What a great book that completely recaps all of the accomplishments of President Trump.
Yes, absolutely. Your kids won't learn about President Trump in school. They won't learn about him in the public, in the libraries. You'll hear about other presidents, former presidents, but you won't hear about President Trump. So this is where this book comes in handy. You can get one for your house and for your children, your grandchildren, your nieces and nephews, or just your neighbor. Get your free Trump book. It's about President Trump, all of his accomplishments, how much he loves America, and his plans for America. It's a very patriotic book. Teach them young. freetrumpbook.com. It's in the name, free. The book is free. All you have to do is pay a small shipping and processing fee, and that's it. And they'll mail it to you right to your door.
I've often said, Vanessa, you won't hear about it on the University of TikTok, although I'm going to defend TikTok a little bit.
Oh, no.
Because I was told that if you are searching for very America first, there is some – look, the algorithms the Chinese have is incredible. They can populate the America First stuff on TikTok, but you're not necessarily going to see it all the time. So go check it out, freetrumpbook.com, freetrumpbook.com. Okay, Mike
Lindell's a very busy man. Brian and I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago when the TikTok bill was on the table in the House. I think, Brian, you and I agree on a lot of things, but TikTok I'm just not a fan of, and I don't.
This is what they're going to do. I'm not a fan of it either, but you don't necessarily want the government. Well, let's go ahead. We'll get into that second.
Well, hello.
What's going on?
Hi, good to see you.
Boy, long time, huh?
Yeah, good to see you. How's it going? What's the latest with Mike Lindell?
Well, I get attacked every day. My pillow's been attacked probably the worst in the last month. It's been as bad as ever because we have our big Supreme Court case, that's at the Supreme Court. We have a big event on April 17th in Las Vegas. We're going to be have all the, I think Steve Bannon's going to be hosting, and we're going to do all the cyber guys, all the experts and the lawyers that brought the case to the Supreme Court. So that's going to take place.
So let's back up a little bit for the people who do not know. We haven't seen you in a little bit, unfortunately, but he's back. Let's talk about that case that's going to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, the case goes back to what this is. Back in the spring of 2022, I said, you know what? We're not getting anywhere with the courts. None of the judges will look at any of the evidence based on merit. Not one judge in the United States ever looked at any of the evidence based on merit of the 2020 stolen election. So I said, let's go through every state and let's get them on these machines being defective devices. Okay, like if you had cars that had to be recalled, right? So the first state we went to was Arizona, then Alabama. Well, in Arizona, in each state, you have to get attorneys and you have to get plaintiffs. So in Arizona, Kerry Lake and Mark Fincham said, hey, we'll be the plaintiffs. And they were running for office. But remember, this was the spring of 2022. So we took all of Arizona laws, found out all the defects that the machines had. This isn't, saying anything that was flipped or anything. It was just the defect. It needs to be recalled, okay? Well, the judges this judge ruled that they didn't have standing, okay? That's when he started hearing this word standing. I'm going, well, what do you mean they don't have standing? They're running for office, and these are machines that do the counting, right? So when they did that, and then of course, they had the election, and then this week we brought it to the Ninth Court of Appeals in Arizona. And they also pushed it back on standing. Then they sanctioned the lawyers. How dare you even bring this up to us, right? Well, one of the lawyers was Alan Dershowitz that I had hired. He's a Democrat. Obviously, we disagree on a lot of things, but he also agreed we got to go to paper ballots, hand counted. We can't have devices that are defective, right? So he was a coward, and he's gone now. Okay, I got sanctioned. I can't stick up for the world anymore. And can I say that?
You can say whatever you want. You're on the right side.
Coward, Alan Dershowitz, coward. He backed out. Very much a coward. You don't go so far, and then you get sanctioned. We got one shot to save our country here. Well, then the brave Kurt Olson and other lawyers and our experts, because the word was standing. That's very key. When you get kicked out on standing, you can add evidence and bring it to the Supreme Court. So this case got brought to the Supreme Court about a month ago. I got docketed, and all this new evidence that came in November was added to it. One of these things is inside the machines are decryption keys. That's the equivalent of you having a bank with a bank vault, and the combination is right on the front of the vault. Or if I had my ATM card and I wrote my password on the back for the ATM. I mean, you can't make this up.
Right.
So this stuff is in there. Now, the Supreme Court, they can either accept it or reject it. If they accept it, which they should, they deemed our election platforms critical infrastructure our government has. They need to protect us, and I believe it'll be a 9-0 vote if they do accept it. I really do believe that.
So remind us of the date of when that decision is supposed to take place.
We don't know that yet. The Supreme Court believed they had 30 days to accept this case. So it'll be in the next couple weeks. It could be longer. I'm not sure on that. But on April 17th, we are going to be on my network, Lindell TV, and Frank's Speech. We're going to be live streaming from Las Vegas. We're going to do a roundtable with all the lawyers and stuff. It's like here's what's in this case, because everyone in this country needs to know about this. This is huge. Now, the other thing I've been doing, if y'all go to lindellplan.com, and there you can see what we're doing across the country. This is why I get attacked every day, because what we're doing is going county by county with basically a sales pitch to get rid of the electronic voting machines and go to paper ballots. All across South Dakota, New Hampshire, across the country, we've got over 250 counties committed now to go to paper ballots. That's a lot. But we get pushback all the time I call them uniparty Republicans. Horrible Republicans. One of the top ones is right here in the state of Wisconsin, named Robin Voss, which by the way, we were recalling Robin Voss. The great citizens of Racine County are recalling him, and the first time they got 4,000 more votes than what was needed to recall him. And they discredited that. Robin came in and he discredited, well, not this signature, this one's no good. Well, you get to do it again if you want.
Right.
So we're doing it again, and you can check that out at RacineRecall.org, everybody. RacineRecall.org. It's going on as we speak. And it's so we've got great things going on, and plenty of time to do it in. Since I've been in a rally, it's been almost 7 or 8 months now. It's been a long time because I've been so busy out there. Protecting my company. We've been attacked.
We get asked all the time, where's Mike? Where's Mike been? Is Mike going to be here? So it's really good to see you again. Let's go back to Arizona. You talked about your attorney. I want to bring that up real quick because, Mike, you have been really big on, whether it's Democrat or Republican who wins the election, you just want it to be fair.
Yep.
You mentioned that your attorney was Democrat, but to you just want it fair.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
you want whoever to win the right way.
That's exactly right. And we have over 51 countries have been taken by the computers, by the corruption. The last one being the great country of Brazil. My good friend, President Bolsonaro. That was about a year or two, almost 2 years now. And then you have other countries like Argentina.
Yeah.
One judge last summer made a ruling, said, we are no longer going to use machines. We're going to go to paper ballots, hand counted. It's the most transparent way to do this. They did it. They freed their country after decades of communist rule. Taiwan, Ecuador all followed suit. We have all these countries like France, Germany, the Netherlands, the UK. They all across the country. They outlawed early voting and mail-in voting, and they outlawed machines.
Yeah.
And why is the United States sitting here? We've had 2 elections in a row where everybody sees these anomalies and all these stuff that went on, and and if you ask anybody, why is Mike Lindell still getting attacked and his company still getting attacked? Well, back 3 years ago, Mike Lindell, what a conspiracy theory. He wants to overturn the 2020 election. Well, in the spring of 21, that ship sailed for me because I realized that it's not about who wins or loses. It's about having a fair election. And this isn't a Democrat or Republican thing. The Democrats wanted the machines gone for 2 decades. We have been fighting uniparty Republicans, and I don't know why. I don't understand why they want to keep these machines when they, it's our elections. Like in South Dakota, the people get to vote in every county. If you get 5% on a petition, we get it all done, and these Republicans come in and try and change it, going, we're not going to accept that. Mm-hmm. Well, you don't change your own laws,
Right.
And,
so do you think we've made some headway going into 2024, November 2024? That's people's main concern. You
Right.
talked about early voting. People are not wanting to early vote. They're wanting to vote on election day.
Yep.
What do you think? How do you feel going into 2024?
Here's what it is. We've got quite a bit of time. Everyone thinks it's just short here. Remember, the country of Argentina went to paper ballots, hand counted in 4 months. And we've got a system. We have a system. Every state's got a hand counting system. I believe we'll have enough of them done. I believe there's enough stuff that's getting revealed. Enough court cases now are getting to fruition, like our Supreme Court one. Now, what they will do, by the way, every state also has an emergency hand count system in case the electrical grid went down. We've tried to get it under the Freedom of Information Act, but they won't give it to us. But we have made such
we should be able to do that. That's why it's there, the Freedom of Information.
That's what it's there for. But we've made such great progress. I think, if we get the elections, the platform secure enough, and we get our great real president, he has said, he has said many times, on my first day in office, we are going to go to same-day voting, paper ballots, hand counted, and everybody goes crazy. Remember, the RNC last summer even passed a resolution that said paper ballots, hand counted, no machines, precinct level, 1-day voting. This is the RNC, and it was 168-0. So when I hear nonsense, and I'm going to say this right on your channel, when I hear nonsense like, we've got to outdo the Democrats, we've got to vote early, get that mail-in voting, get out and vote early. Rubbish. You vote same day. It's 100 times. I've forgotten more about elections than people would ever even fathom. And I'm telling you, you vote same day, it's harder for them to steal the election. It's been proven over and over and again. They're just misconstrued. Well, why would they say that over at the RNC when they voted 168-0 against it? Because they're in panic. We don't have to panic. Just vote same day, and you know what?
Stand in line. They do for the rallies, Mike. Stand in line in rain and snow and tornadoes or whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
Same day.
Same day voting, and there's nothing wrong. The Turning Point and stuff is doing a thing called ballot chasing. That's not ballot harvesting, everybody. That's different. Ballot chasing, there's nothing wrong. They go to people that normally wouldn't vote. They go to people that normally wouldn't vote, and they're getting them engaged. And they tell them, go vote same day, but make sure you vote. It's basically just a rallying thing to get people to vote. And if you can't encourage people to vote in this next election, you're in the wrong business. Look around you, all the horrible things that are going on in our country. It should be so easy.
You know what's easy is going onto your website and ordering some of your great product. Let's talk about MyPillow.
There you go. And I'm going to tell you what we've done at MyPillow. My employee-owned company has been attacked I believe more than any company in the history of the world. I mean, we have survived through banks debanking us, American Express deplatforming us, a merchant service deplatforming, vendors, everybody squishing our credit in. And for all of you out there that buy my products, that's where I can be out and know that my employees are feeling secure because we don't have any minimum. The box stores canceled us too. So what we've done this, it's called a $25 extravaganza sale. You use that promo code RSBN, go to mypillow.com. You guys can get my pillows. All the premium pillows I started with now, Giza cotton, $25. King or queen, don't matter. We got 6-pack towel sets, $25. We've got the new kitchen towels are in, $25. We've got couch pillows. I took couch pillows. You know when you lay on a couch and you're going, they're not really built for laying on. They're not comfortable. They're decorative. We did both. They're beautiful. Plus, you can lay on. They're the beautiful My Pillow patented fill. $25.
And cheaper if you put in the RSBN code, you will get a discount on the $25.
Yes, you're absolutely $25. You're getting RSBN. Get all the discounts there, and with this promo code, any order 75 or more, free shipping on your entire order. Shipping has gone up so much with this horrible administration that's in office, and that's another thing the president says. Day one, drill, baby, drill. I mean, this is disgusting. You're destroying our economy with the first thing they ever did when Biden got in office was shut down that pipeline.
Right.
When he did that, he did it on purpose so that they could destroy our country. So all those specials, remember, we have beds. People forget that beds. We have mattress toppers. All these things. And the
slippers are comfy.
Slippers.
Yes.
Our new sandals are in. All the sandals came in. They're made with this impact gel made out of soybean. You can stand them. I'm surprised Brian doesn't have a pair on here. I don't know, but he's got to get a pair of the sandals. Yeah,
we do stand here for a long time. We do need them.
RSBN with the promo code, guess what? How much? $25.
There you go. I love it.
It's our biggest sale. When the commercial launched last Monday, it was our third biggest launch of a commercial in history.
Awesome.
And so that was really inspiring for all of us at My Pillow. And
the people love you. That's why.
Everybody for your support. And
keep supporting Mike.
Been with us since day one.
And Mike has been with us since day one, and we appreciate you, everything you do. Keep up the good fight. Everyone loves you. Go to mypillow.com. Get so much for $25 plus another discount with the RSBN code at checkout.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
mattress toppers, Brian saying. Okay. Brian has 2 kids going to college, so he's using some of those products for the dorm rooms.
That was it. You guys had, in history, I believe you're the number one promo code in history. You know that, right?
Wait a second. We hold the number one promo code
I believe you do. Because,
that's
an
honor.
There was a stretch where only RSBN would even talk to me back in the early 21 there. It's like everyone's... You were stuck down. Mike Lindell's getting canceled.
He was taboo, Vanessa. You did not. Anybody wouldn't. If you talked to Mike Lindell, you had to have your finger on the mute button.
You never know what you're going to say.
The edit button.
I might say something that rhymes with.
It was. But so we are so proud because you've been great for the network. I mean, I got to be honest with you. I mean, the amount of interaction that we had in 2021. Those are the years that really catapulted Right Side in to be able to do more because of our partnership with him. Because it's nothing's free. It takes.
And look what that manifests to do. I think Brian's done more interviews with our great real president than anyone alive right now.
He has done.
It's funny. You told me you actually said that. You told him that.
Yes, I did tell him.
He goes, Mr. President, I think you've done more interviews than Brian.
Especially last year. I know that's a fact.
That's probably a fact.
But you deserve it, Brian.
Well,
you've had his back forever, and so is RSBN.
This is a hard ride.
There were times, everybody, after the 2020 election, there'd be all these events where their evidence would pop up, like Arizona. 10 hours of evidence. There's one group there, one media group. All these cameras were off. It was RSBN.
That's true.
RSBN.
Do you remember the first one? It was Pennsylvania, Gettysburg. That was the first public Senate hearing for any kind of election discrepancy.
Right.
And I can't remember the.
And you're looking around. Where are all the media?
Yeah, man. It was
amazing.
Something else, man. It's been a long ride.
And that's what we've been up against is the canceling. You have the media on the left. Okay, the media on the left. I've had to use them more than anything just to continue to get attacked to get the word out. I can't go on RSBN and a few others every day. I had to build my own network, Frank Speech, and I had to do that. But I had to use this media because we don't have the Foxes anymore or the Newsmaxes. You know, can I say that? We don't have the Foxes. You know?
I mean,
they don't. They're like weather channels. You guys, they're like weather channels that can't report. Wait a minute. I can't report tornadoes or hurricanes. You know?
They have to get permission. I noticed. I was watching Fox right after President Trump wrapped up his speech in Grand Rapids.
Right.
And it was really interesting how they threw back the anchor, and the anchor. It took her like an act of Congress for her to say that President Trump was the official GOP nomination. It was hard for her to say that. She was really trying to get herself to say it. But that's what we're faced with. I mean,
it is. It really is. It's like that's one of the biggest reasons I came here is to get the word out. You know, like I'm going to go on this other media that'll take me here, but I want them to know that there is a case that finally reached the Supreme Court that's going to affect our election platform. If people don't hear about it, you know, you guys probably didn't know about it. I don't know.
We follow you. We knew about it.
Because it had gotten pushed back 1 week from a Friday to a Monday.
But what they do is you'd think it would be national, international news. Just say yay or nay. But somebody should probably look into why you have decryption keys inside of our voting machines. Yeah. You know what a decryption key is? Think of a God key that can do anything it wants, go horizontal everywhere. Well, wait a minute, they're not on the internet. How about South Carolina when they shut down their primary because the internet was down?
Right.
That was like 3 weeks ago. How do you do that? You know, what do you mean? The internet's down. Who cares? I thought they weren't hooked up.
There's some stuff, and I'm going to be real cautious of what I say because I want all the facts to come out on this. But in Georgia, the absentee ballots, if I was to tell you, Mike, that there are districts in Georgia that are just now getting ballots returned from the midterms and, wait for it, the 2020 election. That's going to come out here shortly about that. So these absentee
Heard it
ballots.
first here on RSBN.
Yeah, well,
how about in Georgia, the judge that, this last fall said, you know what, this is 4 years against crooked Brad Rassenberger down there, and she finally, an Obama-appointed judge, pushes it forward. She says, this case is going to move forward because the experts say there's problems inside the machines. And, wait on it, if you question the machines, you're not a conspiracy theorist. I took off my tinfoil hat on that.
You're waving it around. Did you see where actually, this is interesting as well, that Scotland now has some of the most hate speech rules in place. And it all started with that J.K. Rowling, the author that misgendered somebody, and all of a sudden people get thrown up in arms. But that is what it was like after that. Remember that? You couldn't even say Trump. You couldn't say election, and then you couldn't even say ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine. You couldn't criticize COVID. I mean,
hey, I thought I was getting shadow banned on Facebook, but all my friends were seeing it. They just wouldn't like anything I put there. We're not going to say.
And you've had that problem too with advertisers as well. They're scared to advertise right now.
Absolutely.
What's the status on the mystore.com? And if somebody wants to if they have a great product, they want to get on.
You go to my store. By the way, promo code RSBN, all the discounts there. There's over, I believe, a couple thousand entrepreneurs, USA-made products there now. And it's probably way more than that, but there's thousands. And they've all been vetted over the last 3 years. They're up there. You get all the discounts with RSBN. And if you have a product, not an invention, a product, it has to be product ready. Think of it as a mini Amazon where we protect you. I protect you. It's a safe place where you're not going to get copied by China. Yeah. And you're not going to you walk into Walmart, hey, there's my product. What happened here? You know.
We might be getting a special announcement. I want to say this. I had someone from the Trump team come up to me and say they're going to, if you notice, they put out a different podium. So we are going to have maybe a surprise speaker come out here in the next few minutes. So just be alert if you hear somebody start talking.
It's not me. I'm right here.
Yeah. Mike already did. I actually thought you were going to speak longer. I was waiting for you to go on.
No, there's limits.
There's limits. I
know. There's a time thing up there.
Is that hard for
I was
you?
getting trouble going over. One time we were up in Alaska. Me and Sarah Palin were the only two speakers, and they said, "No, you're going to get 3 to 5 minutes." And she looks at me. I go, "It's kind of a guideline."
It's a rough perimeter.
She talked for 35 minutes.
I believe that. She might have asked you, but when was the last time you actually talked to the president, and what was this?
It was about I think 10 days ago. I was down there in Mar-a-Lago. Yeah. Oh, he's always in good spirits, and we talked for I don't know a couple hours or an hour or two, I guess. And he's always upbeat. He's always positive. So we feed off each other, optimism.
And that positivity feeds off to the American people, because the American people see what you're going through and your issues going to the Supreme Court now and the court cases against President Trump. And when we see you come out energetic, we're going to keep fighting. And we see President Trump do the same, it gives us the energy to think we're going to be okay. So we thank you for that, because we need those leaders to have that positive influence.
He said to me
on
once, Patrick Henry would never shut up about stuff in his speeches. And he goes,
Patrick
no,
Henry.
that's what he goes. He goes, Mike, you're the Patrick Henry of our lifetime. He goes, they're going to build a statue that's so big someday. Of course, they'll tear it down right away.
Right.
He's so funny. He's got a great sense of humor. I love his sense of humor, and he showed me. He's got this great book that Letters to Trump, and he knew how many people in that book had turned on him. I mean, just for no reason, and just because and it's like. In my own life, I see that, I look out there now and see vendors and stuff I've dealt with for decades, and they've turned on me or squished my credit, piled on as my pillow gets attacked, going, it's like a run on a bank, and it's just disgusting.
Let me ask you a question. What is business like right now? Because I know you see the inflationary numbers and people are pulling back on spending. Have you experienced that?
And plus at the same time being attacked, credit taken away, and it's been probably the hardest time for me to ever. If you've read my book, I've had some hard times with my pillow and stuff, but this has been the hardest, bar none, even more so than January 21. The last 7 months, the last 2 months have been just excruciating. It's like you get through every day, but it's been kind of exactly, I think, what they planned with their lawfare and cancel culture. Let's cancel his money. Let's get him distracted so he's got to be all in over here. But I got news for them. I will never, ever, you're never going to stop my boys from talking about this election, and I'm never stopping. And that's why we have LindellPlan.com. Go there, get involved. They can take all my money. And I've said it before 2 years ago. When you run out of money, what are you going to do? I'm going to keep talking. I'll borrow money. And that's what I've had to do. I've done everything I can do. It doesn't matter.
Well, you've said if
you
you don't have a country, you don't have a company.
I don't have a company anyway. And my employees all get that. It's really sad that they've been sued and attacked, and they've done nothing other than their CEO wants fear and
okay, let's go. There we go. Live back in Green Bay.
Donald Trump is ready to debate you right now. Do you accept?
If I were him, I'd want to debate me too.
I thought perhaps we were going to have a brief speaker, even though there is another podium out there. I will read this. This is something that was handed out here just moments ago, and I'll go ahead and read it. This was back in March 6. Donald Trump's truth. It's important for the good of our country that Joe Biden and I debate issues that are so vital to America and the American people. Therefore, I am calling for debates anytime, all caps, anywhere, all caps, any place. The debates can be run by the corrupt DNC and their subsidiary and the Commission on Presidential Debates. I look forward to receiving a response. Thank you for your attention to this matter. This is the Truth Social that was put out early March about that. I think the American people would fully be on board of seeing an open debate. And I don't mean a very controlled. As a matter of fact, I'll say this. Donna Brazile at the time was the DNC chairman and provided the questions to Hillary Clinton back in 2016. We later found that out, by the way. I'm in full support. If they want to give Joe Biden every single question and talking point. Let's see if he can memorize it all. No teleprompters. And let's see he can do that. President Trump would absolutely destroy him on a one-on-one debate.
Yes, hands down from the get-go, straight out of the gates. I don't see it happening. I don't think that Joe Biden is capable mentally, physically, even walking up the stage to a debate. Definitely not going head-to-head with Donald Trump. So I honestly don't see it happen. I know that President Trump wants that. We want that. The American people would love to see that. But if Joe Biden has any advisors, 100% they're going to advise against it because they know it's just going to be a domination of Donald Trump, and he's just going to crush him from start to finish.
And it's going to be the playbook they took out of 2020, where it's basically you run from the basement, because he can't do as many public engagements as President Trump can do. I don't think he has the stamina to do it, for one. He doesn't have the mental capacity to keep up with all of this information. You know how hard it is to go speak for an hour, then get on a plane, go somewhere else, speak for an hour, deal with people, deal with questions, which, by the way, I would imagine this has already taken place, because this was supposed to take place about an hour ago. But Joe Biden was going to brief the American people and have a press conference, the first public press conference since November, on his conversation with President Xi of China, and go over what they talked about. He has been radio silent on any of that if any of his interactions with China. Nevertheless, a public press conference, an open press conference. I want to see him taking questions, Vanessa, not just coming out and reading statements. Right. I want questions.
He can, and we saw that just recently. The last time he came out and spoke to the press, he was angry, he was mad, he was going at it with reporters, and then stormed off. He can't answer questions, and he gets mad about it when they, interrogating him in a way about issues that are going on. And I will say this, I wouldn't be surprised, Brian, if the Biden team comes back to the debate and says he's not going to debate. President Trump didn't debate in the primary, so they're going to twist it and turn it back on President Trump, since, well, he didn't have to. Well, President Trump didn't have to. Why break? If it's not broken, don't fix it, is the saying, right? If it's not broke, don't fix it. And he was winning. Commanding lead. He was dominating every state, winning. And so he's on the campaign trail and was like, I don't need to stop being on the campaign trail and for this debate, when everyone else that's a candidate right now is double digits, 30, 40, 50 points below me. So I think they're going to throw that back in his face to put the blame on Donald Trump.
All right, let's talk about the wellness company. You got to have this emergency kit. We don't have any idea what can happen in this next year. No one knew that 2020, this COVID would happen, and it happened. And people scrambled for whatever medication or whatever they can find to help them get better, where Dr. Peter McAuliffe has an amazing emergency medical kit that has everything you need to get past any medical pandemic. Anything. You've got one. You used it recently.
I have had to use it.
Everything
the
was
in there. I used the Z-Pack. Sometimes when you call your doctor and they can't get you in immediately because, if a lot of people are sick with whatever the case may be, they're booked up. And so it came in handy because I was able to start my medications. And I was up front with my doctor, said, I have this medication. Can I take it? Yes, go ahead and get started on it. And then we'll, pick up from there. But I had it there at my disposal as soon as I wasn't feeling well. That's what it's there for. But on top of just the everyday sickness that can affect your family, what if there's another pandemic? Ivermectin's in there. If there's another outbreak of COVID or whatever the case may be, we just don't know. So instead of worrying about what the new pandemic may be, don't worry about it. And that's where this medical emergency kit comes in play. I rest easy knowing that it's in my kitchen cabinet. You should do the same. Trust me, it's worth it. Go get yourself one right now. Put it in your shopping cart. And when you do that, put in the RSBN code and you'll save yourself some money. There's a discount there for you.
Yeah, it's great. I think everyone should have it. Information for that is on your screen. As always, thanks for supporting some of our partners for our broadcast for that. All right, as we wait, let's get a quick check of the time here because it is 4:23 local time here in Green Bay. He's scheduled to speak at 5. I was told that he was on the ground in Green Bay, which is good, and this is not too far from the airport. I love Green Bay. This is only like the third time I've been here, and it is the smallest. I mean, you think of Green Bay, obviously I think of the Packers. I think of the North. This is the smallest NFL city in the league, so it's got a small town community to it. So the chances of President Trump landing at Green Bay and getting here, that's no problem. That's pretty quick. And the weather right now, for I can see, is not inclement, so he will be here. Let's talk a little bit about what the controversy was on Easter.
Okay.
This National Trans Visibility Day that Joe Biden was celebrating on March 31st. Now, so just so you guys know, this day was actually created in 2009 and it has been celebrated by the Biden administration every year since he's been in office. So this is not something that was just created on Easter to kind of shove it in the face of every Christian around this country. But with that said, it was definitely the narrative coming out of the White House and really, I would say, all Democrats about this National Trans Visibility Day rather than the holy day of Easter. And then also the removal of religious symbols at the White House in regards to their Easter celebration. There was no religious symbols. So, and this is what really struck a nerve with me, because we celebrate Easter as the resurrection of Jesus Christ. That's the reason why we celebrate Easter. That's the purpose of it. It is not just some made-up holiday where we have kids go color eggs and hide them and collect them and they get prizes inside. The fun and games, that's not why we do it. It's a celebration of the resurrection of Jesus. So the fact that they want to hide any type of religious symbol or prevent it from being shown at the White House as they celebrate Easter is wrong. I was also flying the day before, and I had a guy in a restaurant in the airport say "Happy Holidays," and I came up to him and I said, "Happy Holidays? What do you mean by that?" He goes, "Enjoy the holidays." I go, "What holiday is it?" He goes, "Well, it's Easter." I said, "Why don't you just say Happy Easter? Why do you have to say Happy Holidays? Why are we watering it down?" I would rather him not say anything at all than to water down this holiday. I'd rather him not even acknowledge it than to kind of half-bake it to a happy holiday. So my problem with all of this society right now, and I'm going to get on a soapbox, is I'm tired of our society living by good, positive vibes and feelings, and all of the universe is magical, and thoughts and prayers. They're not really praying. Who are they praying to? What do you mean by I'm sending out good vibes in the universe? All this happy talk that makes you feel good, it makes you feel like you're spiritual, but they don't acknowledge and they don't give praise to who actually is in control. Who is the creator of our heaven and earth? Who created man? Who created earth? God did. Jesus is God's son. We celebrate Easter. We celebrate Christmas, the birth of Jesus Christ. So, Vanessa, as I wrap up this little rant that I've just been stewing
I'm next,
on for a little
keep
bit.
going. I'm right behind you.
Because here's my problem with this. We've eliminated two things from our country and our society: the Constitution and the Bible. Okay, we've gotten rid of both those things. So now we're in a situation where our country has been hijacked by the radical left, not Democrats, the radical left, and, in my opinion, communists. In my opinion, demonic communists that don't want God, Jesus. They want you to think that your rights come from the government, not come from God. That's what they want you to believe, because they feel like if they could separate you from God, then that makes room for them to come in and control you. So this whole spiritual warfare that we have right now at this, we're removing Easter celebration from the White House, removing any of this stuff in our culture is wrong, it's demonic, and that's why, in my personal opinion, that's why our country is doomed if we don't bring that back.
Right. Going back to Trans Visibility Day, they knew what they were doing several years ago when they came up with this date. It's not like Christmas that falls on December 25th every year. It's not like Halloween that falls on October 31st every year. It's like Thanksgiving, which is always the third Thursday of November, right? So they knew eventually this day would fall on Easter. They could not do it on the first year because that's too obvious. So they just, they put it around this date that they knew eventually would fall on Easter. That's one. Two, there is Gay Pride Month in June of every year. Why not give them that day instead of it being on Easter, which is the Lord's Resurrection Day? Why not give that to them in June? Makes sense.
You want me to go over the list of holidays here?
Yes, and so yes, I do. So that day should be nowhere near Easter, nowhere near Christmas, nowhere any of the days that we celebrate the Lord on his resurrection or his birthday. If you have a full month designated to you, and if you're changing body parts in that month, that's great. Do it. That's where your Trans Visibility Day. Let it be known if you want to show off all your different body parts that God didn't give you and you're taking from somebody else and you're adding on and you're removing. That's your month, not Easter.
Yeah, not Easter. I'm going to source Charlie Kirk on this because I saw it on his Instagram. Did you know that February 19th to 25th is Aromatic Spectrum Awareness Week, which I have no idea what that is. And we also have the LGBTQIA plus Awareness Week in March. We then followed up by Transgender Day of
which
Visibility.
Should be in May. Like, why are there all these extras?
There's a ton of action.
March.
I mean, there's
like
dozens.
You have a full month where you see nothing but rainbow flags everywhere, and they shove it down your throat.
But
and then there's going to be a big celebration.
Vanessa, they're still not represented. They're just not
There will be a huge party on the White House lawn again this year where people will be twerking with thongs on, with children watching them and showing their private parts, with children watching them, all at Joe Biden's expense at the People's House, the White House, again this year because it happened last year. And so that's allowed for children to see. But it's not allowed for the cross or any Christian symbol to be displayed on Easter. And I am appalled by every Christian that votes for this in November. What Christian says that this is okay? I want to know. Send me an email. Vanessa.Broussard@rsbn.tv. I would love to hear from you because I need to know how you think that is right. That is not right.
Well, guess what? On Election Day, Christians are going to show up on Election Day, and they're going to cast their vote, and they're going to voice their opinion on what they've seen the Joe Biden administration do the last 4 years. That's all you can do. I have said this for the longest time, Vanessa. We can stand up here and talk until our faces are blue and my legs give out and we pass out, which might happen.
It might.
But at the end of the day, I just want people to vote November. That's it. That's it. I really don't even care if President Trump does another rally. It's not even needed. The people, of course, we love it. Don't get me wrong. We love it. But the support for him needs to show up on Election Day. Not necessarily on these rally days. This is pep rally talk right here. This is pep rally stuff. But we want him to show up on Election Day. That's what we want. To show up on Election Day, and this nonsense we just talked about goes away.
Goes away. I have gay friends. I have transgender friends. I have friends who do drag, and that's wonderful if that's what you want to do. But don't shove it down our throats. And God, please do not go on the White House lawn again this year in a thong, bending down on your knees, dancing with little toddlers watching you. That's disgusting.
He can't promise you that, Vanessa. It's probably going to happen.
Enough's enough. And on the same subject, in the meantime, President Trump has come out with new Bibles, which I've ordered, and the left is slamming him for making money off Bibles. Why doesn't a true Christian, they say, just donate them? Why is he selling them? So while they're over here with their Trans Visibility Day on Easter Sunday when Jesus resurrected from the dead and getting ready for Pride Month, well, they'll have a big party where women are flashing the children. While they're doing all that, and that's okay, they're slamming President Trump for now selling Bibles.
Yeah, well, I think it's interesting. I was watching, I think, Face the Nation the other day, and they had a Catholic priest on there, and they had an Orthodox, they had an Episcopal priest, was on this show, and they were talking about this very thing about is it right for him to be selling a Bible with by the way, the Bill of Rights is inside, and the Constitution's inside as well, so that's got two separate documents. My opinion is, look, anytime anyone is pushing the word of Jesus in any capacity, I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican. If you're handing out Bibles or you're selling Bibles, which in all fairness he can do, there's no law against that, that's fine. But that goes back to what I said earlier. They don't want you to follow God. They want you to be a non-believer, because if they can separate you from your God and they can tell you that your rights come from them, they're in control, you're not in control, and that scares them.
Right, communist country. And also back to, they'll have control over you there. They have control over you if you're not working. You're depending on them. You're depending on the government to pay for your food, whether it's food stamps or whatever the case may be. Giving these illegal aliens money for rent and for food and for housing and for medical care. They're depending on them. That's what they want. They want to control you. They want you to say, I need you. That's what they want. We cannot let that happen.
Yeah.
Joe Biden has been the worst president in the history of the United States of America, and we cannot afford 4 more years of Joe Biden. And he's getting scared, so scared that just last week, Brian, he had to bring Hillary Clinton, loser, and Barack Obama, another one, to the campaign trail with him in hopes that some of their supporters will start backing him. So they're getting scared. And let me tell you, I was having a conversation about this the other day. The same day, two things. The same day that he was rallying in or having a fundraiser in New York City with Obama and Hillary Clinton, President Trump was at the memorial, the funeral for the fallen officer who was shot and killed in the line of duty. And our prayers are with the family there, his widow and 1-year-old son. He was at that funeral. That goes to show you that President Trump backs the blue. He is a firm supporter of our police and our military. That's number one. Number two, you are in New York City holding a fundraiser. You know all of the money that's flowing through Wall Street and Manhattan and all the billionaires that live in that city, right, Brian? If I just said $25 million, people will say, oh, that's a lot of money.
It's a record, by the way. You know, that's the most
But at the same time, it's that real with all
history.
the millionaires and billionaires, and I see $25 million. I'm like, okay, you brought in your 3 biggest names in the Democrat Party, Clinton, Obama, and Biden, and you just raised $25 million. I guarantee Trump would have raised a lot more than that.
Yeah, he can raise a lot more than that. Which, by the way, President Trump paid off the mortgage of that widow, which is incredible as well. Vanessa Broussard, Brian Glenn, as we're live here in the great city of Green Bay, Wisconsin. I do want to talk about our friends at the Birch Gold Group. Make sure that you diversify your investments. We don't know what the market is going to happen. There's so much uncertainty right now, and they are the experts in gold, silver, precious metals. They can show you how to convert a traditional IRA into a gold-backed IRA. They can do that. When you look at inflation and you look at how people are struggling, people are dipping into their savings to pay bills. They are using their credit cards to pay bills. Don't do that. Secure your future. Secure your savings. The Birch Gold Group, simply type the words Trump to 989898, and they'll send you a free information kit on that. Okay, so we've got the financial crisis going on right now. We've got high inflation, which I'm not buying this 2 to 3% inflation. That's their goal. It's more like in the upper teens, low 20% across the board as an average. But if you live in California, guess what? If you work for a fast food restaurant that has 60 or more locations, that's the criteria there, you have to pay their employees there $20 an hour. That went into effect on April 1st. Governor Newsom signed it in the law back at the end of last year. So what is that going to do to businesses in that industry in California? Because imagine now, Vanessa,
they won't be able to stay open.
You're hitting the drive-through,
right?
And all of a sudden, that combo meal that was $9 is now $17 for the quarter pounder, fries, and drink. Can't afford it. But I think what it's going to do, though, this is what I think is going to go do here. I think it's going to push into AI. I think they're going to scale back on their human employees, and then open the door to big tech to come in there and do all this automatic, integration of computers.
Is there going to be a robot making my hamburger?
That's exactly what's going to happen. That's why he was for that. He really wants the innovation to continue on AI and all of this automatic system that they have to get rid of employees because they can't afford them because it's $20 or more, and enter this new tech era, which, by the way, is all coming from Silicon Valley. So this only pushes development in his own state for the technology to push humans out of the way in a business. That's actually what I think the secret plan is. So why not make it $50? Why not make it where you can't afford to hire an employee, so you have the need all of a sudden for some type of automatic system? That's why they made it 60 or more locations, because small mom and pop businesses can't do that.
No.
But big giant corporations like Wendy's, McDonald's, Taco Bell, Taco Bueno, and all these other places, they can. So I see this as a indirect push for that stuff to replace humans. It's not that they care about people and they want to pay them more money. I don't think that's it at all. I think it's to get rid of them because a company has to get rid of them to open the door for something else.
And you may be right. You never know what's up Newsom's sleeve. Newsom. President Trump's new name for him. And staying on the topic of California and what the governor's doing there, nobody is going to be able to afford to keep their doors open with what you just said. And people aren't going to be able to afford a $20, $30 hamburger for a family of four, coming home from dance or baseball.
Yeah, it's coming.
But at the same time, while he's doing this, he's also giving free health care to illegal immigrants. I mean, that has been...
In college.
And so he doesn't care, like Brian just mentioned, about his own residents. It's clear as day. People can't afford gas in California. They can't afford mortgage in California. People are 2 and 3, 4 roommates are sharing a 1-bedroom apartment in California because they can't afford to live on their own. Kids, I call them kids, college kids, students, and the young adults are moving back in with mom and dad because they can't afford to live on their own. It's tough. And so he's not helping his residents like Joe Biden. He's helping the illegals first.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I saw a video the other day that was trending on Reels, and it was a college student, and she was complaining about getting this degree. She got 2 degrees because she was told one wasn't enough. She had to go back and get a second degree. Oh, let's step aside. As we're live in Green Bay.
Thank you. Listen, the president does have to get up and speak and get out of here before he's snowed in. But first of all, just thank all of you for coming out here and braving the weather to help elect the next president of the United States, Donald Trump. Thank you. I want to thank the president for giving me a ride up from Florida. I was visiting my children, my grandkids down there, and hitched a ride up here. And I have to say, I wish every American would have the experience that I just had. Sitting in a plane, having a substantive conversation with the president on a number of important issues, but watching him work, watching him interact with his staff, watching him in Michigan sit down with law enforcement, and the respect that the law enforcement officers have for him because they know he will have their back and he will support the rule of law, unlike this administration. Do you realize that when President Trump left office, when Joe Biden took office, a dollar was worth $1. Now it's worth 84 cents. That's why it's costing you so much at the grocery store. If you are asked to devise a strategy for destroying this country, you'd be hard-pressed to come up with a better game plan than what President Biden and his Democrat colleagues in Congress are imposing on America. The open borders, 40-year high inflation. It was 1.4% when President Trump left office. The war on fossil fuel. We were energy independent when President Trump left office. The embarrassing and dangerous surrender in Afghanistan, which has been emboldened our enemies. Do you think Vladimir Putin would have invaded Ukraine if it was President Trump? Of course not. And maybe the worst of all, they're always saying, Republicans are a danger to democracy. No, the left is the danger to our federated republic. And it is President Joe Biden that has weaponized the federal government against all of us, but in particular, one man, Donald J. Trump. It is grotesque what they have done to that one man ever since he came down the escalator, because Donald Trump, I've always said this, is the political equivalent of a disruptive technology, and right now we need a disruptor in Washington, D.C. So our job here in Wisconsin is to make sure that we give the 10 electoral votes in Wisconsin to Donald Trump, okay? And I am begging you, please send me a Republican colleague, Eric Hovde, into the United States Senate. And we do it by unifying us, conservatives, patriots, people who love this country. We must remain unified, understand who our political opponent is. It's not us. It's the Democrats, the people that are destroying this country. We need to recognize that and embrace voting as it is. I love voting on election day, but because when I became a United States Senator, I had to vote absentee ballot. We need to embrace that, and today is the perfect example why. We can't afford to have a miserable election day on November and not have our votes already banked. So embrace early voting. We have to do that. Because I believe what Elon Musk recently tweeted, that we either have a red wave in November or America is doomed. Imagine this 4 years of continued decline. We can't allow that, because, folks, what is really at stake here is the essential ingredient for America. What we have used to dream and aspire and build and create this marvel we call the United States of America, freedom. So at its heart, this is a fight for freedom. It's not someone else's fight. It is our fight. And it is a fight that we absolutely must win. So God bless you. God bless President Trump. God bless America. Thank you all.
All right. That's a great message from Senator Ron Johnson here in Wisconsin. Hey, we want to thank our friends over at freetrumpbook.com. That's freetrumpbook.com. We can talk about all the accomplishments of President Trump, and we need all day to do that. Or you can just get a book, and a book can do it too. So freetrumpbook.com is a great resource so your kids can read in a very fun, illustrated way the accomplishments of President Trump. It's absolutely free. All you do is pay a small shipping and handling fee, and you'll have that book delivered right to your home. I would suggest getting it for school, your church, your neighborhood, for your grandkid or small child. freetrumpbook.com.
Absolutely. That's a good one there. You just have to pay a small shipping and handling fee, and that's it. But it's free, and the kids will love it. The adults will love it as well. Hey, Brian, it is tax season. A lot of people are getting those taxes in. A lot of people are already saying, I need to get a deadline or file an extension because I'm going to miss the deadline.
That would be me.
Yes. So that's what happens when we're on the campaign trail. We have a lot going on. But you're not alone. So many people are in that same boat every year at this time. But that's where the people at Tax Network USA come and play. Go to their website, tnusa.com/RSBN. tnusa.com/RSBN. That 1-800 number is also on your screen. 1-800-357-1415. 1-800-357-1415. They have experts, people who are licensed in every state. So no matter where you live, they can definitely help you with your taxes. Tax Network USA have saved their clients $1 billion in back taxes. No matter the size of your tax issue, let the experts handle it for you. Rest easy knowing that someone is just a phone call away. Again, that's tnusa.com/RSBN or 1-800-357-1415.
And why not? Let's talk about our friends at the Birch Gold Group and the investments have got you nervous, the uncertainty in the markets. Of course, you can look at the Dow, and the Dow has had an amazing ride, but based upon what? The consumer spending is down, inflation is up, the base is not as solid as it needs to be, which got a lot of investors worried. So our friends over at the Birch Gold Group want to help you protect your investments. You can simply text the words Trump to 989898. Get that free investment kit on how to take that first step. And you know what? Historically, gold has been done really well. Matter of fact, I think it's a high right now. It's an all-time high coming up. So go check it out, our friends at the Birch Gold Group. Text the words Trump to 989898. That is the Birch Gold Group.
President Trump just moments away from taking the stage here in Green Bay, Wisconsin. It's a doubleheader here today on Right Side Broadcasting Network. He was in Michigan earlier today, and then he'll end the day here in Wisconsin. A lot of Green Bay Packer fans here in the house today. So it's a pleasure being here with you on Right Side. I'm Vanessa Broussard. We want to remind you that you can also follow our newsletter. Get that newsletter to your email every week. Grace Saldana and the crew that writes all of our articles, they do a wonderful job keeping you in the know as we head into election season. It's going to be a busy one, so make sure you go to rsbnetwork.com and sign up for our newsletter. If you're watching us on Rumble, hello to all of you. Thanks for following us on Rumble. Make sure you sign up for Locals. And if you're on social media, RSBN's everywhere. I am too. Follow me, Vanessa Broussard. And on Truth, they changed it for me the other day to match a lot of other people here at Right Side. It's just my first name now. So it's at Vanessa. Very easy on Truth
Very
Social.
easy. Also, shout out to our moderators right now that are on the various platforms online, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook. They're all there. Our moderators are the ones that are behind the scenes, that look at the chats, make sure nobody gets out of line, make sure there's no hate speech on there, make sure everybody kind of plays by the rules there. So shout out to our moderators for the long hours. They have to put up with a bunch of crap sometimes of people saying stuff online. So good shout out to them. Shout out to everybody in our corporate office right now that's in master control, that's behind the cameras. Our couple camera guys in here. It
takes a team.
It takes a team effort to do all of this, so we certainly appreciate everybody. Of course, we appreciate everyone watching us at home. Okay, so we're in Wisconsin today because it is Election Day. In Wisconsin, there's a couple other states that have their primaries as well. Now, we know the primaries, for the most part, over. It was over really before it started. But there's a lot else on the ballot. One of them is to take out private money in public elections. And I'll give you an example on that. Mark Zuckerberg, back in the 2020 election, founder of Facebook, dumped hundreds of millions of dollars into our elections, not just here in Wisconsin, but Michigan, Pennsylvania, and really all of the swing states. So is that right? No. Should we stop it? Absolutely. And I really feel like the people of Wisconsin are going to get this right, and that's going to pass, and they're basically going to ban private money into public elections.
Yes, absolutely. So a lot on the line here today in this election as people head to the polls. Brian, I hope that these people all head to the polls when they leave here. Because
it's kind of funny, in the pre-show earlier for the Detroit, for the Michigan, everyone voted today.
Good.
Everyone was like what Mike Lindell said, same day voting. Now, there's a lot of controversy on that same day voting rather than just voting early. I get what he's saying, and I really believe what he's saying, because if they don't have the numbers ahead of time of how many people voted, then if there's any shenanigans that need to go on, they don't necessarily know what that amount needs to be. Okay? But here's the situation we live in. It's life. Things come up. You might get sick. You might have to work. You might have an emergency. Your car might need there's all kinds of things that can come up. So I'm just an advocate of just voting, period. I love same-day voting, but it's life, and things come up.
For me, for example, we have to vote early because we're on the road on Election Day in our designated spots. But I wait, since I have to do that, I wait until the last day or two of early voting. So I never vote on the first day, the second day, third day. I wait until the very end just because it makes me feel better. But yes, I'm an advocate for same-day voting, election day voting. We should have the results that night, not weeks, months later.
Right.
We should have the results that night. But there are cases where you may not be able to. But I personally like to vote at the very tail end of early voting.
Yeah, I want to, and I just want to make sure my vote counts, and I get in there and see it. I like to take it all in. I
love it.
I like to meet the little ladies that work at when you check in. They look at your ID, they mark you off, they give it to you.
Volunteers, they're great, and you can be a volunteer as well. The more eyes there, the merrier.
Yeah.
Go ahead and sign up. And speaking of, the Trump team needs you. You know, people ask all the time, how can I get involved or what can I do? They're looking for caucus captains and primary captains and people to just join the team in your state. It's very easy to do. Just go to his website, DonaldJTrump.com, DonaldJTrump.com, and look for your state and how you can get involved. Volunteer, become a member, and it's just a fun experience, like you said. Election day, when you go to vote, and you walk out and you have a smile on your face because you did your duty for the day and you're hoping for the best results. The same thing comes from these volunteers.
Yeah. Let's talk real quickly. We are in Wisconsin, and there's a lot going on in the House right now, and I'll give you a great example. Representative Mike Gallagher, that is here in Wisconsin, I don't know the exact district, has announced that he will be leaving on, I think it's April 9th, I believe, April 9th or 10th. But it's after the deadline that is filed for someone to actually run in his place and have a special election so that the people in that great district can remainder of the time until the end of the year can have a Republican in office that represents them. Well, Mike Gallagher has decided that's not important to him. He doesn't care about his constituents back in his district. He doesn't care that they won't have a representative in the House of Representatives and Congress to represent them. So he is leaving office, which then brings our majority down another person. So, and what Speaker Johnson does, and this is what's incredible to me, Vanessa, Speaker Johnson, his priority should be protecting the majority and protecting conservative interests in Congress. That's his job, right? He manages the House. If his job is to make sure that we have and we maintain the majority, then as soon as Mike Gallagher announced that he was going to leave early, he should have said, okay, that's great, but I need you to resign at this particular time or day because we need to have a special election so that your constituents can remain represented in Congress. But that didn't happen. Mike Johnson went on social media and just started praising Mike Gallagher for all of his hard work and of all his years of service and blah, 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 blah. And so by doing that, he has absolutely screwed this district here in Wisconsin. And it's a shame. So if Mike Gallagher, if you're in Mike Gallagher's district, this is what I want you to do. I want you to light his phones up in his congressional district in Wisconsin and his district office in D.C. Find the number. I don't have it on me right now, but you need to let him know that what he's doing is wrong. It's not right, and I can't understand the logic behind it.
Why he would do that?
Why would
and
you
want
to?
Mike Johnson would allow
Why
that?
would you want to do that to your people
Right.
in your district, and then to the conference of bringing us down another person and slimming our majority even slimmer at that point? I just don't understand it. But the only thing I could think of is he's never had America's best intentions in mind. He hasn't put people in Wisconsin first. He hasn't put America first. Because if he did, he wouldn't be doing what he's doing. Honestly, Vanessa, it makes zero sense what he's doing.
Well, then that's where the name Rhino comes into play. Republicans in name only. And so, Brian, I hear it all the time. What is the Republican Party now without Donald Trump? Are we going to be the MAGA Party next? Because I feel like MAGA and Republican sometimes are on two different pages. I'm really disappointed, to be honest with you, in the House since they've taken over the majority because they fight themselves. Don't throw rotten tomatoes at me at home when you hear this. But I can tell you this about Nancy Pelosi. Do not like her. We sent her packing. Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. She's evil. However, if there's one thing that woman did, was she maintain control of her...
Kept the party together.
Did she not? And so we got to do that on the Republican side. of the House. We're too busy fighting each other instead of getting stuff done with the people across the aisle. And so until that happens, Brian, like, we're just going to keep seeing this mess, like you just mentioned, go on, because there's no organization, there's no control. We have the majority. America says, we're voting these people in. We have the majority. So it's your job to work for the people who voted you in. And it's not happening.
Yeah. Let me go over some of the things that Speaker Johnson has done and what Speaker Johnson has not done. And I'm going to go over a list right here. For one thing, Speaker Johnson is poised to fund Ukraine. He has said it numerous times that his priority when he comes back in session is to find a way to figure out the continuing funding of the war in Ukraine, which greatly goes against the base of what people here are. So that's number one. Number two, in his spending package, there's more money to fund abortion clinics that not only provide services to women, but also provide abortions up to birth. These are full-term pregnancies up to birth. Once again, that goes against what the base absolutely has. There's no win on the border on this thing at all. He has done nothing to secure our border. Once again, giving the Democrats everything they want, basically, with his open door policy to the border. He's also funded and added more money for the FBI. So he's funding the very organization that has been targeting conservatives, been targeting Trump supporters, has been targeting President Trump for years. So he's funding the FBI. He's also funding for a new building in the tunes of hundreds of millions of dollars for a new building for the FBI. So once again, Speaker Johnson going against what the American people want. There is no difference in Nancy Pelosi's bill and what we're doing right now than what we have right now. It's the same thing. This is literally a continuation of Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House. We are funding the same exact agenda. We have not changed anything. By the way, Speaker Johnson broke the 72-hour rule, which makes it, if he brings anything to the floor for a vote, everyone should have 72 hours to read it. That was one of the things that they were willing to throw McCarthy out. All these red lines that were drawn in the sand that we couldn't stand about Speaker McCarthy, our House Republicans have allowed Speaker Johnson to violate every one of those items that were drawn in the sand, these red line items. It doesn't matter anymore. I call it the House of Hypocrites. That's exactly what we are. We are the House of Hypocrites. We have a double standard in who we want to rule this House and the majority. And I actually would say this. Speaker Johnson is more of a uniparty. Look, when you think of this, when you look at what the Speaker, his role is, okay? If it was voted on by the people, I can promise you would have a fire-breathing brand of America First person in that chair governing the House. But you don't. It's voted on by the swamp. It's voted on by the institutionalists, the people, the insiders, the lobbyists, the people, the swamp, the what I call the country club Republicans. That's why you get these very uniparty-ish type leaders. And that's why the Democrats are able to sit back and go, well, heck, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
Johnson's in there, but we're getting everything we want. We're getting all of our policies pushed forward. We're getting all of our agendas funded. So they want Speaker Johnson to stay in there. But the chances of getting an America First or a kind of a MAGA-based Speaker of the House is impossible. It would never get the votes. So when people say, well, why doesn't Matt Gaetz become Speaker? He'll never get the votes. Why doesn't Marjorie Taylor Greene get the speakers? She'll never get the votes because that's not what they want.
They can't control them.
The speakership is controlled by the uniparty. And it'll always be like that. That's why you have to put pressure on these speakers to do the right thing. You have to call them out publicly. You have to hold their feet to the fire, whether or not it's uncomfortable or not. And obviously, there's a motion to vacate through a privilege resolution on the floor right now. Now, whether it'll be called up, I don't know. But this is just getting out of hand because this is not the majority in Congress that the American people wanted to go and work for them. It's simply not.
Yes, so we got to make sure we know the difference between a rhino and a conservative next time it's time to vote because it's a mess. And I'll tell you again, I am tired of what the House I've seen from the House, to be honest with you. since they've taken the majority, because they
Yeah.
just do not get along. They can't accomplish much. And then again, instead of fighting the people across the aisle, they are fighting each other. All right, let's take a quick look. We're at the top of the hour here in Green Bay, Wisconsin. 5:02. The people are on their feet. They're ready for President Trump to come on stage. It is cold outside, but it's hot inside. We are warming up. A great time here on Election Day in Wisconsin. President Trump made his first stop in Michigan earlier this afternoon, flew here, and will fly out tonight. But he'll give a fiery speech to the people of Green Bay. Standing room only, overflow crowd, people standing against the walls. Brian, it's just a typical rally, what we always see, always an overflow crowd. On a Tuesday.
But that's what you get. And, you know, it is Election Day here, so people are out. They're excited. They want to see change. Look, if there's ever a time in American history right now where, oh, here we go right now. Let's listen in.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the next president of the United States, President Donald J. Trump.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Wow, what a nice crowd this is. Has anybody noticed the weather outside? They said, sir, I don't think we're going to make it. I said, we have to. We can't disappoint Green Bay. There's no way. I said, we got to make it. We got to make it. There's never been such spirit. Look, we won in 2016. We did much better in 2020. I hate to say it. We did a hell of a lot better. But there's more spirit now than at any time that we've ever seen, because we've seen how bad they are. They're just bad. They are so bad. It's just terrible. But there's never been spirit like this. Never, never, ever. Probably for anyone. And I appreciate it. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm thrilled to be back in Wisconsin with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. That's what you are. You built this country. You can see we have an empty podium right here to my right. You know what that is? That's for Joe Biden. I'm trying to get him to debate. I'm calling on Crooked Joe to debate anytime, any place. We'll do it anywhere you want, Joe. So that we can discuss in a friendly manner the real problems of our country, of which there are many, instead of trying to have corrupt prosecutors fight your battles for you. That's no good. We got all these corrupt prosecutors, deranged Jack Smith, all of them. These are deranged people. Let's debate outside, Joe. Let's go have a good, solid, friendly debate, just a friendly, where our country's going, because our country's going to hell, and we're not going to let it happen. You know, the most important day in the history of our country will be November 5th of this year. Not long. Before going further, let me add that this is primary night, so get out of here soon. I'll finish this thing real quick so you can go out and vote. Go out and vote. We don't have much of a primary, I must say, but there are a couple of things that you have to vote on. And I appreciate your support. We've had tremendous support all over. I mean, honestly, we won Iowa. We won New Hampshire. In records, all records. Nevada, we won. How about South Carolina? We won in records. We won against the governor there. We won in records, a record number. Every place we won in records. So when you're finished, do I have your word you're going to go out and vote? If you're watching at home and you haven't voted, go vote. Go get out there. A lot of television back. That's a lot of television. Fake news. Go vote and make sure you vote yes on ballot questions 1 and 2. Do you know what that is? That's ban Zuckerbucks. Ban Zuckerbucks. They put up money. They come out with these ballot boxes. One guy gets 3,000 votes in a good area for us, and the other one gets 0. You know who gets 0? Me. You think that's a real deal? No. You know, we won this state. We won this state by a lot. And it came out that we won this state, actually. You know, when you have open borders, think of it. That's all right. All right. There's one guy. Now, here's what the fake news will do. There was tremendous dissension tonight. It was there. One guy going home to mom. He's going to get the hell beat out of him by his mother. Mom's going to say, "What the hell are you doing? You embarrassed me. You embarrassed me." No, the papers, the fake news will say it was tremendous dissension. Tremendous. Yeah, one guy. And he's now scared stiff because he's got to go home to his mother. The mother will say, "I saw you on television. You embarrassed me." Beep, beep. With your support, we're going to win the Wisconsin Republican primary in a landslide. That'll be in a few hours. And November 5th, we are going to win this state. We're going to win the White House, and we are going to save our country. We're going to save our country. And what the hell was Biden thinking when he declared Easter Sunday to be Trans Visibility Day? Such total disrespect to Christians. And November 5th is going to be called something else. You know, it's going to be called Christian Visibility Day, when Christians turn out in numbers that nobody has ever seen before. Let's call it Christian Visibility Day, all right? I've just come from Grand Rapids, Michigan, where I was proud to receive the endorsement of the Police Officers Association of the entire state of Michigan. These are thousands and thousands of officers, and they said it was unanimous. I said, wait a minute, there wasn't one negative vote. That's pretty cool. I also met with local law enforcement leaders whose communities are being crushed by Biden migrant crime. You know, we have a new category of crime, It's called migrant crime. It was brought to you by the worst president in the history of our country, Joe Biden, sometimes referred to as crooked Joe Biden. He's crooked as a $3 bill. In Venezuela, crime is down. I'm sure you're going to be very happy to hear this. Crime is down in Venezuela by 67%. Because they're taking their gangs and their criminals and depositing them very nicely into the United States. Aren't you happy? Think of it. Who goes down 67%? They went down. Look at this man. I call him the Wall. He's got the nicest suit. I want to get one of those suits. We built a lot of wall. We had the best numbers ever. We're going to put them up here. I think we're going to put them up pretty soon. You're going to see something that just came out that's incredible. But think of it. Venezuela, which was that was an enemy when I left, an enemy, and they were ready to fold. Now they're supplying us with oil. I wouldn't have even thought to buy oil from them. But more importantly, their crime rate is down to it's down by 67%. And the reason is they've taken their gangs and their criminals and they brought them into the United States. Oh, wait till you see next year. Pretty soon they'll be at no crime, zero crime in the entire country of Venezuela, the beautiful country of Venezuela. In fact, we'll be going to Venezuela for vacations. Yeah, it's built a lot of it. They're sending prisoners, murderers, drug dealers, mental patients, terrorists. The worst of every country is coming into our country now. They're coming from the Congo, Yemen, Somalia, Syria, all over the world. They're coming. They're country changing, country threatening, and they're country wrecking. They're destroying our country. They're destroying, we can drill and we can get the oil going, but this is a tough one. We're going to end up with the largest deportation in American history. We have no choice. Have no choice, right? Have no choice. We have no choice because that's not sustainable by any country. Last week in Grand Rapids, a previously deported illegal alien criminal with multiple prior arrests, many arrests, for drunk driving, breaking into houses, and probation violations, was charged with savagely murdering 25-year-old Ruby Garcia. Beautiful, perfect, beautiful, wonderful young girl, shooting her repeatedly with an illegally purchased handgun and dumping her body on the side of a highway to die. Under the Trump administration, we deported this monster. Long ago, we deported him, but under crooked Joe Biden, he was allowed to trespass back into our country and kill beautiful Ruby. Last week, because we had the strongest border and the safest border in the history of our country, and now we have the worst border in the history anywhere in the world. We have the worst border. Last week, another illegal alien criminal was arrested in Alabama for raping a mentally incapacitated 14-year-old girl. And in Chicago recently, an illegal alien gang member who was released into our country by crooked Joe Biden was arrested for a drive-by shooting that left a 27-year-old woman riddled with bullet holes all over her body, died. I'm here tonight to declare that Joe Biden's border bloodbath, remember they used the name bloodbath, I was talking about something entirely different, but this is a border bloodbath, ends the day I take the oath of office. It ends. With your vote, I will seal the border. I will stop the invasion. I will end the carnage, bloodshed, and killing. And we will crush the human traffickers. They traffic in women, mostly in women. We will vanquish the child smugglers. And we will liberate this nation from crooked Joe and his migrant armies of dangerous criminals once and for all. This is an invasion of our country. And by the way, hundreds of thousands of people, between the drugs that come in the border and all of the death that's brought into the border in so many different ways, hundreds of thousands of people are being killed in our country every year. If we had a war with a country like Mexico. We wouldn't lose people like that. This is bigger than a war. Joe Biden is so weak on the border that other countries are now publicly taunting and extorting him by pumping migrants across our wide open border. They're opening their jails and they're opening their mental institutions and they're bringing them right in and nobody stops them. Nobody has any idea what's going on. Just this week, Mexico's president declared that they will keep the flood of illegal aliens pouring in. They're going to pour into our country unless Biden hands over $20 billion a year just to sit down. Do you think he'd say that to me? And I know him. He's a friend of mine. He's a nice man. He's a socialist, but you can't have everything, right? These young guys can't have everything. At least he's not a communist. He's a socialist. Never got to communism, although who knows? That could be next. Look, $20 billion a year they want just to sit down, and he wants it fast, from U.S. taxpayers. Lift sanctions on communist Cuba. That's what he wants to do. So that's the end of the Miami Cuban vote for crooked Joe Biden, I can tell you that. He wants to lift the sanctions on Cuba. I had sanctions in Cuba to a level that they were willing to make a deal at any time. We would have had that election. If that election were a legitimate election, we would have had a deal with Cuba. We wouldn't have had Russia attacking Ukraine, and we would not have had October 7th in Israel. I can guarantee you that. But we will do all that we can and grants. Think of this. They want to grant mass amnesty to millions of illegal aliens all throughout the United States. They want to give a mass amnesty. Other than that, he's doing a great job on immigration, right? This is the worst president in the history of our country. If I was president, no world leader would ever dare to talk to America that way, and they didn't. They had respect for us as a country. They respected me. You know, if you look at Prime Minister Orban of Hungary, he said, the only way you're going to clean up this world is if Trump becomes president again. I said, that's nice. I actually believe that. They asked him, what's going on? He said, you got to have Trump, get Trump back. You got to get Trump back, he said. He said China was afraid of, I don't want to use the word afraid, I'm just quoting him, because I like to say they respected me, but you know. He said China was afraid of him, Russia was afraid of him, North Korea, everybody was afraid of him. The only way you're going to clean it up, I happen to agree with that, though. I think the only way, because this guy, he can't put two sentences together. Biden. He can't find his way off a stage like this. You got stairs all over the place. Secret Service has to come and take him off the stage. In this case, we have some very nice people up here. I don't know how the hell they got here, but they're very nice. And you would help him off the stage. I don't think they would, actually. I really don't. Joe Biden is not respected, and Joe Biden is not feared. They don't care about him. The only thing he's good at is cheating on elections and disinformation. Disinformation. You know, if pilots come in, he says, I used to fly planes. If truckers come in, he says, I used to truck. I used to drive a nice truck. His biggest lie of all, he said, did you ever see him swing a golf club? He's like this. He said he was a 6 handicap. He's not a 6 handicap. He's not a 36 handicap. Under my leadership, America soon will be respected again, very quickly, respected like never before. Respected like never before. Joe Biden's flood of illegal aliens is not just bringing in massive crime, it's also bringing massive costs and massive problems, big problems. Problems like we've never had a country like this, honestly. Hey, we've been here a long time. We've loved our country a long time. We've never seen such disrespect. Even the way China talks to us, like we're children. They never talk that way to me. They're not going to talk that way to me. Look no further than the small town of Whitewater, Wisconsin. Does anybody know Whitewater? After being inundated with Biden migrants, this tiny town now has a budget shortfall of over $400,000. Their public schools are straining with hundreds of new migrant students who don't speak a word of English. Their police force is being diverted from traffic stops to migrant crime, our favorite new term, migrant crime. It's a new category of crime. And their town is becoming a hotbed of cartel activity and illicit drugs like nobody's ever even envisioned before. A vote for Trump is a vote to save Wisconsin, and it's a vote to save your country. This country is finished if we don't win this election. And I heard somebody say it, a scholar say it 2-3 days ago, said, if we don't win, this may be the last election our country ever has. And there could be truth to it. That's where we're going. Because Joe Biden is a threat to democracy. He's the threat to democracy. Thank you. Thank you. On day one, we will terminate every open borders policy of the Biden administration and begin the largest domestic deportation operation in American history, starting with all of the criminals that are pouring in, the criminals and the terrorists. And you know who's going to tell us who they are? Our local police. Our local police, because our local police know their names, their middle names, their phone numbers. They know everything about them. One of the most important issues in this race will be how Joe Biden's border invasion is also going to obliterate Medicare and Social Security for American seniors. What he's doing by allowing millions, 15 million, 20 million people this year, I think it's already 15, he's destroying your Social Security, he's destroying your Medicare and many things else. He's also destroying your way of life. If the millions of Biden migrants are allowed to stay as Joe Biden intends, they will cost taxpayers trillions and trillions of dollars, and Medicare and Social Security will buckle and they will collapse. You know, it's very tenuous. You understand that? You can't do it. No country can sustain what's happening. We are being invaded, and invaded by a lot of people that are people we don't want in our country. I will never, ever let that happen. Social Security will be strong and powerful. Medicare will be strong. You deserve it. The Treasury will be raped, plundered, and robbed bare to pay for welfare, free health care, free housing, food stamps, Medicaid, and countless other public benefits. And think of it, the legions and legions of Biden migrants pouring into it's really becoming a third world country. We are actually becoming, if you think about it, a third world country. And we're not going to let that happen. We're not going to let it happen. So to every Wisconsin voter, if you want to help Joe Biden wheel Granny off the cliff, remember what they had? They had that with Paul Ryan, not my favorite person, by the way. I remember after I won the election in 2016, I had a hall very much like this. It was packed. And I introduced Paul Ryan. The place booed the hell out of him. I said, I guess they don't like him too much. That was when they used to like him by comparison. They like him a lot less now. If you want to help Joe Biden wheel Granny off the cliff to fund government benefits for illegals, then vote for crooked Joe Biden. But when I am president, instead of throwing Granny overboard, I will send Joe Biden's illegal aliens back home. You're going back home. You have to know. And if they know that, remember this, if they know that, they're not coming. You know, the problem is Biden got up and he said, welcome, everybody. Welcome to the world. We'll give you free education. We'll give you everything. But welcome to the world. And they came. And they're coming now. There's a massive caravan right now coming through Mexico. And nobody is stopping it. Unlike Biden and the open borders Democrats, I will always protect Medicare and Social Security for our great seniors. I will protect them. They want to also increase the average age, you know, that the minimum age. They want to increase it. And we're not doing any of that. We have so much wealth under our feet in liquid gold and so many other things. We can do it without destroying your Social Security and your Medicare. And I made that promise to you, and I kept that promise. Remember, there was Social Security, and for 4 years, we never touched it. We let it be, and that's what's going to happen again. I make that promise to you. Your Medicare and your Social Security with me will be safe. But with them, it's not going to be safe. It's going to be destroyed. Not because they want to do it, although maybe they do, but I doubt it. But they do want people to come in endlessly. They had chances 2 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago. Even when I came in, I built 571 miles of wall. We had 200 miles sitting there waiting to be erected, far more than I said I was going to build. And that's one of the reasons the numbers are so good. And if they put up the chart, when they put up that chart, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Put it up anytime you can, fellas. There it is. Right there. See that low spot? This is illegal migrants coming into our country. See the arrow on the bottom? That was my last week in office. That was the lowest number in history. When this guy went to the beach, if he would have just left everything alone, he might have gone down as a decent president, at least on the border. He still had a lot of other problems, let's face it. But on the border, look at that number. That number is so much lower than anything else. And then look at the right of that number. That's what happened after I left. It was an invasion of our country. It's an amazing chart, actually. I saw this. It's a Border Patrol chart. But look at that low number. Got it down to practically nothing. Now, people came in, but they came in legally. We want them to come in legally, right? But you have to study that. I'll tell you what, even the fake news was impressed with that number. And they're not impressed with anything because they're fake. No one has been hurt by Biden's migrant invasion more than our great African American and Hispanic American communities and union workers, right? Oh, yes. Great. And I see my great women from North Carolina here. You know, these women, this is 119 rallies that they've been to. And this isn't even a rally. They don't care if it's a rally or not. But we all like each other, right? They're great women. I don't know what the hell their husbands have on their minds. They travel without husband, and they've come to 100, I think it's about 119 of them. And we also have front row Joes around here. Oh, look at that, front row Joes. These guys have, I don't know who's winning, but it's a lot of them. There he is. There she is. Thank you very much. And thank you. I hope you're enjoying yourself, because I am. And I hope you're able to get back when you go outside and you see about 12 feet of snow. Biden has granted millions of work permits to illegal aliens, crushing wages for actual Americans, while he drives up your gas prices by 50%, 60%, 75%. And by the way, if you notice, energy costs are going up a lot over the last month. But while Biden has betrayed African Americans and Hispanic Americans, union workers, and everyone else, I will fight for you like never before. You know, the unions will fail because of what's happening here. The unions will not be able to sustain this. The unions are going to be, they're not going to be unions very long. They're not going to be able to sustain it. But I think the worst hurt will be the African Americans. Then you're going to have the Hispanic Americans. They're going to be hurt tremendously by this invasion. It is indeed an invasion. And it's not, maybe in some cases, but I'll tell you, they're coming from places that you don't want them to come from. In my first term, we built the greatest economy in the history of the world. We had record tax cuts and regulation cuts and rising wages for cities. That's right. Totally rising within all our cities, but for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. And all of this without any inflation. Now the inflation's a record number. It could be 75%. You know, they like to say it's 58% and 54, probably 75%. And anything you made is more than wiped out. Look at your grocery bill. When you go for groceries now, you're paying 3 times what you paid 2 years ago. Joe Biden squandered everything we did under the catastrophe of Bidenomics. He thinks it's a good term. It's a horrible term. Wisconsin manufacturing workers are suffering, and Milwaukee's 30th Street industrial corridor is being gutted. They're all leaving. Just last week, Master Lock, I buy Master Locks, closed down. Now I won't buy them anymore. Then I'm making it. They're going to make them in Mexico now. They're moving to Mexico and to China. Thanks, Master Lock. We appreciate it. But it's really yet another Biden surrender. We don't let them do that. We can't do that. So what you do is you put tariffs on them. So the locks cost so much they have to stay, you know. It's not that complicated, but some people think it is. Some people think, oh, that's so terrible. You know, we took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China. No president ever took in 10 cents, not 10 cents. And we gave 28 billion of it to your farmers. Many of the people in Wisconsin got a check. And if you think it's easy to get $28 billion for the farmers from President Xi, let's see who else could do it. I said, would you like to give our farmers $28 billion? And the reason is they were taking advantage of our farmers for many, many years before I got there. And I went to our Secretary of Agriculture, Sonny Perdue. I said, Sonny, what's the damage that was done? He said, over a period of 2 or 3 years, it was about $28 billion. I said, that's okay. They're going to pay us back. And they did. They paid us. They gave us $28 billion. I distributed every penny of that to the farmers and some of the people in this room. You think Joe Biden is thinking about getting money from China for the farmers? He just wants to go to sleep. Leave me alone, darling. I want to sleep. I want to sleep. That would never have happened under me, where you go, hey, look, that they allowed that to happen, to put us in a position where we were horribly treated. Our farmers were so badly treated, but we got the money back. And you remember I said, it's going to take a little while, this negotiation, but think about buying a bigger tractor and more land, right? And 6 months later, it happened. They broke, and they gave us the best deal, one of the greatest trade deals ever. But then when COVID came, I don't even talk about that trade deal anymore, because COVID was so devastating for the world. I call it the China virus because I like to be accurate. With your vote, we will throw out Bidenomics, and we will reinstate MAGAnomics. We love MAGA. Make America great again. Make America great again. You ever see Biden? We will stop. What's that word? MAGA. We will stop MAGA. We will stop it. I said, does he know what MAGA means? It means make America great again. He wants to stop it. It's true, he does. He does, actually. We will stop Biden's inflation train wreck, and we will drill, baby, drill. We're going to get your energy prices way down. You know, he's gone back to my energy for the drilling, but the day after the election. But they're drilling now because prices were going so crazy. The day after the election, it all stops because he wants everybody to have electric cars, the whole thing is ridiculous. Nothing is as crazy as allowing millions of people to come into our country. Nothing. But the electric vehicle is crazy because they don't go far. They don't go far. They're all going to be made in China. They're not going to be made in your country. You want your country. But think of it. We have more natural resources. We have more oil and gas. We have a thing called gasoline. We have more than any country in the world, and we don't use it. We want to go to all electric, which we don't have. California's a wreck. You know, California, you've heard of Governor Newsom, right? Governor Newsom. He gets on, we're doing great. We're doing great, absolutely great in California. No, they're not doing great. They're doing terribly. I mean, if he ever became the candidate, which I don't think he will, but if he ever did, all we have to do is show what's happened out there. But they want to go all electric. It's just crazy. You know, Germany tried it, right? Germany went all soft. They got rid of their coal, and they got rid of their nuclear. They're out of business. Now they're rebuilding a coal plant China's building a coal plant every single week, and they think it's more than that. And we're playing around with these windmills that cost a fortune, most expensive energy. If Biden is reelected, he's promising to impose a $6 trillion tax hike, which will turn literally the U.S. economy, will destroy the U.S. economy. I never heard of a guy campaigning where he wants to raise taxes. You know, all my life, I'd listened with my father. We found it very interesting. I always liked politics. I never thought I'd be on this side of the ledger. But here we are. How did we do? We did okay. We did okay. We did okay. We did okay. Actually, we had one of the greatest, they were saying we had one of the greatest presidencies in history, and it's true. And we're going to top it with this one. We're going to top it. And you know, in a certain way, if you remember, I campaigned on the border because the border was bad. But then what happened in 2020, I couldn't really even mention. I'd say to my people, I want to talk about the border. They say, sir, the border, you fixed it. It's 100% perfect. I want to talk about the border. They said, sir, nobody cares about the border. You fixed it. Well, now the border is 100 times worse than it was in 2016. There's never been a border so bad. There's never been corruption and rape and pillage and loss and people coming in at levels that nobody's ever seen with the people where they're coming from, criminals like never before, just pouring into our country. We have no idea who they are. So when I fixed it in 2016, I believe this could be like 100 times worse. That was a bad border, but that was bad, understandably bad. This is at a level that nobody's ever seen a border like this. We've taken in, I think, at least 15 million people. That's bigger than almost every state. And I think by the time we end, we might almost be, by the time we get this lunatic out of office, how he can like this, by the time we get him out of office, he's going to be at close to 20 million people he will have allowed into our country, mostly unchecked, unvetted. We have no idea who they are, where they came from, but we're going to find out. It's a big problem. When I win, you are all getting tax cuts, and you're getting a brand new Trump economic boom. And that's where we were headed. And that's where we were headed until we got sidelined by a wonderful election. Wasn't that wonderful? Remember at 10 o'clock, everyone's calling me. They're saying, congratulations, sir. The biggest people, congratulations, sir. I said, yeah, but you know, these people are cheaters. But I don't like to accept anything yet. And then at 3:02 in the morning, a lot of dumps happened. A lot of bad things happened. But you know what? The good news is we've seen how bad they are. And because of that, there's more spirit now than ever before. Because of that, we'll be able to do things to make our country great again that we probably could have never really done had it been a more traditional turnover. So it's going to be great. And it's no wonder Joe Biden and his thugs are so desperate to stop us. They know that we are the only ones who can stop them. That's why they're weaponizing law enforcement, high-level election interference against Biden's top political opponent. Who does that happen to be? Me, here I am. I got indicted more than Alphonse Capone. Al Capone. Scarface. You know how bad he was? You know, I know some of the guys in the front row. They're tough guys. If you ever looked at Alphonse Capone, you wouldn't be tough at all. You'd be dead by the morning, most likely. I got indicted more than Alphonse. Alphonse was a tough man. They did a movie called Scarface. Check it out. Even if it was half true, you don't want to deal with him. But the fact is, the people understand it. They get it. It's election interference at the highest level. Never happened in our country before. How about Fani? F-A-N-I, Fanny. It's Fanny. I call her Fanny Wade. No, what kind of stuff is this? And this was done in conjunction with the White House. The DA in Manhattan was done in conjunction with the White House. They actually took people and put them into the DA's office. The Attorney General, yesterday to be more accurate, I put in a bond. $175 million. I put up a bond. No, but on something where I was not guilty of anything. I did a great job. The bank said he's one of our cherished customers. I borrowed money at their request because that's what they do. They lend money. I borrowed money. I paid it back. I actually paid it back early. They want to charge me $450 million fine. This was a corrupt judge in New York, out of control. The fine was lowered substantially. But think of it. I have to put up, you see, this is all election interference because that's money I could have used on the election. This is all election. Put up $175 million. Nobody ever heard of a $175 million bond. Honestly, I'm very proud of the fact I don't think there's been $175 million. Nobody, a bond is for $500,000, $1 million, or much less than that. A bond isn't for this. And this is what they used a statute to go after me that was never used before. It's a consumer fraud statute, has never been used for this before. These are corrupt people. There was no problem. There was no anything. This was like a perfect transaction. Charged me $450 million fine. These are sick people. And we have to go on, and we have to win, and we have to hope the appeals courts are honest, because if they're not honest, this country, I'll tell you, Where are we going? This has been such a blight on New York. The appellate division actually gave me the case. I won the case because I won it in the appellate division, not the 175. I won that too. They reduced it from 450 to 175. But I won the case because it's called statute of limitations. The appellate division ruled in my favor. That means most of the case is gone. The judge refused to honor it. Now, nobody ever heard of that before. So the appellate division said, you won the case, that's it. And the judge said, I don't accept it. He's called a rogue judge. He's a rogue judge. He's a fake judge. I'm not the threat to democracy. Joe Biden and the fascists that control him, and they do control him, are the real threat to democracy. Because it's not Joe. I really don't believe it's Joe. I think it's people that surround him in that beautiful Oval Office, the Resolute desk. Can you imagine him sitting at the Resolute desk? What a great desk. All of this persecution is only happening because I'm running for president and I'm leading very big in all the polls. If I wasn't leading, or if I was or if I didn't run, none of this stuff would be happening. If I was in fourth place, like all the other candidates, they didn't do too well. How did the other candidates do? Not too well. In the latest Emerson poll, we're leading in Wisconsin by 4 points, and in other polls, we're leading by 10, 11, and 12 points. Thank you. Whoa. Whoa. You know, for years I used to tell the fake news back there, look at all those cameras. Wow, that's a lot of cameras. But I used to tell them, show the crowd. I gave up with that because they don't do it. But I used to say, and I thought that the camera, they weren't able to, they never would show the crowds. And then we had a little demonstration in one case, and where a couple of people were screaming something, and those cameras turned around like they were pretzels. That steel was bending like 15 different ways under the guy's leg. They were showing that fight back there because that was bad. But they never show. I'll give you an example. Cameras, why don't you just turn around, show the extent of this crowd to every corner, from corner to corner. Show it. Show it. But they won't do it. They won't do it. They won't do it. Look at that. They just keep the camera right on me. Normally, I'd like that. I've been after them for years to do it. They've never done it. They just don't want to do it. They'll show one little demonstrator over here who weakly said something. I don't know. Oh. And one person, and they'll make a big deal. But they won't show the fact that we have a room that's sold out and people are outside standing in the snow. They don't want to do that. They never do that. The radical left Democrats. Thank you. Thank you, Uncle Sam. Look at Uncle Sam. Look at that guy. Now, in real life, he's probably a doctor or CPA, but look at him. He has, these guys have, look, we have the wall here. We have more Uncle Sams. I love you guys. It's amazing. The radical left Democrats rigged the presidential election in 2020, and we're not going to allow them to rig the presidential election in 2024. Every time the radical left Democrats, Marxists, communists, and fascists indict me, I consider it a great, great badge of honor because I'm being indicted for you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Never forget, our enemies want to take away my freedom, because I will never let them take away your freedom. That's true. They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you. And in the end, they're not after me, they're after you. And I just happen to be standing in the way, but I always will. We are thrilled to be joined tonight by some great people. Your Senator Ron Johnson. Ron, wherever you may be. Ron. Thank you, Ron. And members of Congress, friends of mine, real fighters. Ron's a fighter, they're fighters. Glenn Grothman and Tom Tiffany. Tom, thank you. Glenn, thank you. A man who's done a fantastic job, and he promised me a victory here, so we have to give him a good hand, okay? Wisconsin Republican Party Chairman Brian Schimming. Brian, thank you, Brian. You promise. And a great guy, an influencer, a guy with great influence, actually, but he's really a good man. He's a good person. Alex Brzezowicz. Alex, where are you, Alex? Thank you, Alex. Thank you. Look at that guy. And a man who's doing really good. He's just about even in the polls. I see it. He's a handsome devil. I just met him backstage. And a beautiful wife, a beautiful family. U.S. Senate candidate Eric Hovde. Eric Hovde. Where's Eric? Eric, good job. Man, I tell you. Eric, I met Eric and I've studied Eric because we have to get it right. And running against some very fine people, really. But I've looked it out, and they're going to have other opportunities. Eric, I am giving you my complete and total endorsement. So go out and win. Go out and win. Go out and win. You better win. We always win. I did it. I did it for Mike Rogers. He went up 60 points or something in one night, and I did it. I'll tell you what, I did it for a gentleman running for the Senate, a really good man running for the Senate in Ohio. He ended up winning by 21 points. You all know about that one. That was a good one. And I'm doing it now for this gentleman because I think he's going to be fantastic. You have tremendous potential, and she's a very weak candidate. I mean, if you lose to her, that's not a good thing, okay? She's a very weak candidate. So you have my complete, Eric. So everybody go out, support him, and get him to win, okay? I think he's got a good chance, real good chance. Thank you. Very important. That's a big race. We'll be here to help. Also, a friend of mine, somebody with tremendous courage, the greatest purchaser of advertising in the history of the world. There is no man that can buy. If I said, I'll tell you what, if I let him buy my ads, you would have Trump ads on all day, all night, and I would have paid half for them. The great, legendary Mike Lindell and Mrs. Lindell. Mrs. Lindell. He's a great guy. Fantastic guy with a beautiful new wife. Congratulations, huh? Look at that couple. That's a beautiful couple. Beautiful couple. From the very first day that we take back the White House from crooked Joe Biden, I believe we are going to have the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. In my first 4 years, I kept my promise to the workers of Wisconsin. I got you so many contracts, including that big shipping contract. You remember that one? We ended the disaster known as NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made, and replaced it with the greatest trade deal ever made in the history of our country, the USMCA, that's Mexico and Canada. And now they want to renegotiate it. Don't do it, Joe. Don't renegotiate it. Don't do it. We had monumental victories for Wisconsin dairy farmers, and the dairy farmers here, they know it because Canada was taking advantage of us. For our great veterans, we passed VA accountability and VA choice. We got it through Congress. It wasn't easy, right? Look at him. Look at that guy. And because of that, we were able to get you, right? If you had to wait any length of time, like a day or two for a doctor, they used to wait 3-4 months before they could see a doctor. You went out to a private doctor. You got yourself taken care of. We saved so many lives with that, and we took care of it. In addition, we were able to fire people that were bad people. We couldn't do it because of the civil service laws. And we had sadists. We had some bad people. They wouldn't have done it in prime time, I tell you right now, but we had some very bad people. We fired 9,000 people, got them out, replaced them with loving people that loved our vets, right? And we got a 92% approval rating, the highest in the history of the VA, and the last time it was at 44%, and now it's going way down, way down. So we take care of our vets and not doing a good job right now. Biden's doing a terrible job with the vets. We fully rebuilt the U.S. military, created Space Force, and I was the first president in decades who started no new wars. I finished a couple, but I didn't start. And I brought our troops back home. And remember, you would have never had Ukraine being attacked, and you would have never had Israel being attacked. Those things wouldn't have happened. Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, shortly after we win the presidency, I will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine settled. I'll get it settled. I know them both very well. We will restore peace through strength, and we will prevent World War III. And nobody else can say, you're going to end up in World War III. This guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He doesn't know what he's saying. He doesn't know who to speak to. He's lost. He's a lost soul. Our president is a lost soul. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. I will pass the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act. If China or any other country makes us pay 100 or 200% tariff, we will make them pay a reciprocal tariff of 100 or 200% right back. You screw us and we'll screw you. That's what it is. And very simply, as tariffs on foreign countries go up, taxes on American workers and families will come down very dramatically. We'll reduce those taxes. Foreign countries have taken such advantage of us. We renegotiated so many deals. China, Japan, South Korea, so many deals. The Philippines, so many deals. We made them from horrible deals. I used to sit back and say, who the hell made these deals? They were horrible. And we made so many great deals out of it. Now we have a time to do a real job because we have so much room. There's so much room. We have been taken advantage of by foreign countries. As an example, your automobile industry, of which you have a lot, but your automobile industry, China now is building plants in Mexico. Big plants, really big plants, because they think they're going to build cars in Mexico, not here, build cars in Mexico and sell them into our country. If they're going to do that, we're going to put a tariff on that's so high they won't be able to do it, okay? They should not be doing that. And they were given the go-ahead by Biden. You know why? Because he accepts a lot of money from China. Can you believe it? This guy gets a lot of money from China. He's a Manchurian candidate. On day one, I will terminate Crooked Joe's insane electric vehicle mandate. In addition to this job-killing disaster, Joe Biden is also preparing to approve a waiver request from California, allowing them to enact a complete and total ban on all gasoline-powered cars and trucks. I will terminate that. If this Biden ban on gasoline cars goes into effect, the U.S. auto industry will be slaughtered. All of your car making here and a place that I just got back from Michigan will all be gone. What they've done to our automobile manufacturing. As an example, Mexico, go back to Mexico. They took 32% over the years, not during my years. Over the years, took 32% of our car making ability. They took it out. It's a massive industry now in Mexico. It's crazy. We will, very importantly, restore law and order to our country, and I'm going to indemnify all police officers and law enforcement officials throughout the United States to protect them from being destroyed by the radical left for taking strong actions on crime. And the other day, I was very honored to visit with the family of an amazing man, New York police detective Jonathan Diller, you read it, who was gunned down by a vicious thug previously arrested by different law enforcement agencies over 21 times, very serious crimes. And the person with him was known as Killer. He was actually considered worse. He should never have been allowed to be on the streets again. When I'm reelected, I will crack down on the left-wing jurisdictions that refuse to prosecute dangerous criminals and set loose violent felons on cashless bail. I think I'm the only one in America that has to put up a bond. For what? Nobody knows what I did. I had to put up a bond. If you kill somebody, there's no bond. Don't worry about it. Go ahead, kill somebody else. These people are crazy, I'll tell you. And I will ask Congress to send a bill to my desk ensuring that anyone who murders a police officer will receive immediately the death penalty. I guess they like the police. I like the police. I like the police, so we're going to do that. And you'll see that whole situation come to a halt. And again, the family, Stephanie, the whole family was so incredible. The Diller family, so incredible. It's hard to explain how beautiful it was. It was sad, horrible in so many ways, but the family, so many police officers in the family. The mother, Stephanie, was incredible. The beautiful, most beautiful baby you ever saw, Ryan. And their whole life changed, can never be the same. Can never. She knew him since early high school, never knew anybody else, didn't want to know anybody else. And there he was. It's just a horrible thing that's going on. Vicious kind of thing, too. Vicious. Opened the door and just started shooting at him. And just a horrible thing. He still grabbed the gun. He fought him. He was blown to pieces. He grabbed the gun, he fought him, and his people came over and they shot the killer. But amazing to see this, the love and the respect. Thousands of policemen and women went up to that funeral parlor. The lines were so long. I was driving for blocks and blocks. When I was leaving, I made a turn and I was driving for blocks before that line ended. It was a really amazing thing to watch, but an incredible family. So sad, so sad. In addition, I will take aggressive action to end radical Democrat lunacy known as squatters' rights. They want to squat into your house. There's now an epidemic of illegal squatters throughout our country. They're trying to steal American homes by exploiting Marxist laws in Democrat-run cities. I mean, they're actually going into a house and you can't get them out. That's in Democrat-run. It's not working in Republican-run cities. That's why, as president, I will establish a federal task force to use every authority that we have at our disposal to end squatting in America. Squatting's a big deal. Sounds like a little bit of a weird topic, but it's not. It's a very bad thing. When you go home and there's somebody in your house and they won't get out, and you bring the law enforcement and the law enforcement says, I can't do anything. If your constitutional rights have been violated, we will defend you. If you have illegal aliens invading your home, we will deport you. We will not allow your homes to be taken from you in any way, shape, or form. We will stop the plunder, rape, slaughter, and destruction of our American suburbs, cities, and towns. And we will end deadly sanctuary cities. We're going to end them. I will shift massive portions of federal law enforcement to immigration enforcement. We're going to do immigration enforcement, not paperwork. We're doing all paperwork. We're doing everything. On day one, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto our children. I will not give one penny to any school that has a vaccine mandate or a mask mandate. And I will keep men out of women's sports. And I'll fully uphold the Second Amendment, of course. I did it better than anybody. Nothing happened. Your Second Amendment was protected with me as your president. We will protect innocent life and we will restore free speech, and I will secure our elections. We're going to secure our elections. Our goal will be one-day voting with paper ballots, very simple, and voter ID. But until then, Republicans must win. We want to landslide. We want it to be too big to rig. Too big to rig. Too big. If you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of the United States and added them up, they would not have done near the destruction to our country as Joe Biden and the Biden administration has done. Nobody's done damage. Remember, I used to say the 5 worst presidents. I made it 10. I think I could make it 20. You want to know that? There's nobody that's hurt our country like this total lunatic. He's a lunatic. What they're doing to our country is not acceptable. It's not even a survivable situation. So if you want to save America, then get everyone you know, register them Republican as soon as possible, volunteer for our campaign, and get out and vote in record numbers. We want record numbers. Even tonight, it's important to get out just to let them know we're coming on November 5th. We're coming. You got to let them know. So remember, I want to see your voting booths. If this crowd all goes to, I want to see. But remember, you're going to go out and vote tonight. Together, we're taking on some of the most menacing forces in conclusion. And vicious opponents our people have ever seen. We've never seen anything like what we're seeing right now. But no matter how hateful or corrupt the communists and criminals we're fighting against may be, you must never forget this nation does not belong to them. This nation belongs to you. It belongs to you. This is your home. This is your heritage. And our American liberty is your God-given right. And you know that they even want to challenge God. They want to challenge. They want to challenge everything. From Madison to Milwaukee, from La Crosse to Kenosha, and from Greenfield to Green Bay, we inherit the legacy of Wisconsin patriots who braved incredible dangers to carve out life in a vast and wild frontier, but a beautiful frontier. We stand on the shoulders of American giants who crossed the oceans, explored the continent, settled the Great Plains, won the Wild West, laid down the railroad, raised up those great, beautiful skyscrapers. I built some of them, too. Conquered the skies, fought 2 world wars, defeated fascism and communism, mastered spaceflight, and made America into the single greatest nation in the history of the world. But now we are a nation in decline. We are a failing nation. We are a failing nation. We are a nation that has lost its confidence, it's lost its willpower, and it's lost its strength. We are a nation that has lost its way, but we are not going to allow this horror to continue. 3 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again. It was hardworking patriots like you, Wisconsin, who built this country, and it's hardworking patriots like you who are going to save our country. Going to save our country. This is a very, very perilous time. We will fight for America like no one has ever fought before. 2024 is our final battle. With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. We will expel the warmongers. We will drive out the globalists. We will cast out the communists, Marxists, and fascists. We will throw off the sick political class that hates our country. They absolutely hate our country. We will rout the fake news media. We will drain the swamp, and we will liberate our country from these tyrants and villains once and for all. We're going to do that. We have no choice, so we're not going to have our country left. Like those patriots before us, we will not bend. We will not break. We will not yield. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never, ever back down. Can't do that. Like you. With your support, we will go on to victory, the likes of which no one has ever seen before. We will evict crooked Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of our country, from the White House. And we will take back our country on November 5th, 2024. The most important day in the history of our country. The great silent majority is rising like never before. And under our leadership, it's our leadership, the forgotten man and woman will be forgotten no longer. You will be forgotten no longer. You weren't forgotten for 4 beautiful years. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. And together we will make America powerful again. Make America wealthy again. Make America strong again. Make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Wisconsin. Go out and vote. Go out and vote. God bless you all. Thank you.
stage tonight here in Green Bay, Wisconsin, as President Trump wraps up a doubleheader. He was in Michigan earlier, comes to Wisconsin, a state he won big in 2016, and looking to win again in 2024. 10 delegates. He's hoping to secure those in.
Border here.
Him, and no word yet from the Biden camp on if that will take place.
Don't hold your breath on that. Hey, we want to thank some of our partners for the night, the Birch Gold Group. As we've talked about the economy, they can help you secure your financial future. Simply text the words Trump to 989898 for that free information kit that can get you involved in converting a traditional IRA into a gold-backed IRA. So go check it out, our friends at the Birch Gold Group.
Yeah, actually, check out Tax Network USA while you're at it, because it is that time to start filing your taxes. If you still have tax problems from years past, don't worry about it. That's what Tax Network USA is there for. There are experts who are licensed in every state here in America, and they are ready to talk to you. Even if you have back taxes, they can help you. Anything related to your taxes, give them a call, 1-800-357-1415, or that website on your screen, tnusa.com/RSBN.
And don't forget to get that medical emergency kit as well. Dr. Peter McAuliffe had to design this specifically to take care of any need that might pop up in the next year or so, any pandemic that might come. It's got a Z-Pack in there. It's got some ivermectin in there. The information for that is on your screen. Go check it out. This emergency medical kit provided by the Wellness Company.
And that free Trump book for the kiddos. Make sure you have those at your house. If you're a grandparent, this would be great for when the grandkids come over. Teach them about President Trump and his accomplishments and how to be patriotic and how to love our country. It's never early. Just go to freetrumpbook.com, freetrumpbook.com. All you have to pay is a handling fee, and that's it. Other than that,
I highly recommend you guys check us out.
So freetrumpbook.com. Great day here in was on Right Side Broadcasting Network. And we will see you the next go around.
That's right. Until next time, everybody, goodbye and God bless from a snowy Green Bay. We'll see. Philip Patrick joining us here from the Birch. Now, this year that they don't get tangled up in this cobweb of tragedy that's ahead, and they can secure their financial future.
That we at Birch Gold Group specialize in precious metals. They work very well. The realities of a Biden economy. These will drive gold and silver up. Is an effective hedge against the problems we have, and like I said, the realities of Bidenomics. Give a free see the problems, the solutions will present themselves.
Thank you, Philip Patrick, the Birch Gold Group.
Thank you, Brian. The honor is mine.
For Kids Guide to President Trump. It's free. A lesson. Order now at freetrump.com.
What's up, guys? My name is Jaden Hurd, and I have a Christian show called Let It Be Heard, where we analyze culture and current events from a biblical perspective. I highly recommend you guys check us out. We now have episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And basically, what happens is we react to videos, we have talking points, we have on guests, and it's very exciting. Come check us out on Rumble on the RSBN channel. God bless you guys.
Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back. The My Pillow guy.
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0. When I invented My Pillow, it had everything you'd ever want in a pillow. Well, now there's new technology that makes it even better. My Pillow 2.0 has my patented fill combined with a cooling fabric with temperature regulating thread. My Pillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of My Pillow.
Now's the time to go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use the promo code to save 50% on your My Pillow 2.0. Not only that, for a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
mypillow.com.
Welcome to the Right Side Broadcasting Network. We're not like the other media outlets out there that cut and edit what other people say. In 2015, we were created by our founder, Joe Seals, to cover President Donald J. Trump's speeches and rallies, to which we continue to do to this day. We've also covered important conservative events like CPAC, TPUSA, March for Life, and many other important events and hearings around the country. We were made for people like you, everyday Americans who are tired of the mainstream media, who are tired of being lied to, manipulated, and fed an agenda. Our goal here at Right Side Broadcasting is to allow you to see the truth, giving our correspondents and commentators a wide latitude to speak their minds. You won't find anything like this in the mainstream media. Your support through your donations, locals, and supporting our advertisers allows us to continue to cover important events around the country each and every day. So, from us here at Right Side Broadcasting, thank you for supporting us and the right side of history.